spare part canisters.
Red 2, standing by.
Red 11, standing by.
Red 5, standing by.
Anakin, Chancellor Palpatine is evil! From my point of view, the Jedi are evil. Well, then you are lost!
G'day guys, and welcome back to Casual Rage 42. Welcome everyone. It's going to be an awesome show. We've got a fair bit to talk about today when it comes to Marvel and of course Star Wars as well. Not that too many people are excited for these things. It seems that there's no hype at all. Just people are enjoying talking about how ridiculously stupid every fucking thing is. So
I don't know. I saw a lot of people talking about how, you know, maybe Disney's changing their tune. There's actually going to be a Luke Skywalker special on Disney Plus. I don't know if you heard about that.
I did not hear about that.
Shocker. I can't possibly imagine getting excited over something that was just completely fake, that like a month later, then Pablo Hidalgo goes and does his shit. Then they fire Gina Carano, and then being excited about that very same thing just a behind the scenes of. It doesn't make any sense to me, but hey.
Is it just like a little behind the scenes special of that scene?
It's literally all it is, yes.
Oh my God. And everyone,
they're banking in on that fake shit twice. So fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 86 times.
Yeah. Maybe I could make a t-shirt, but Luke Skywalker. It's becoming more and more relevant, I think. But look, everyone, welcome. Thank you for being here. We've got a very, very special guest today, Ryan Kinel, RK Outpost. Thank you for being here. I've been a long time fan and supporter of yours. You've helped me a lot with my channel, and I can't thank you enough for that. But welcome, and thank you for being here.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Glad we could make it happen. When I asked what time it was earlier this morning, you told me some random fucking time. I was like, there's no way I agreed to do that.
I said 22 hours. It was actually only 10 hours away. I don't know how I calculated that. It was 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But no, I'm happy to be here, man. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you. And of course, our usual guest, we've got Tim, Open Airlock Policy. Thank you.
Yeah, and I just want to let everyone know at 9 o'clock in the morning Central, I am getting a haircut. I'm right now somewhere between Colin Cochran and Holocron Keeper Evan and Matt Wilkins. So I'm going to get it chopped off at 9 o'clock in the morning.
All
so
right, nice.
No worries. Yeah. Thanks for having me, Ryan.
Take a nice side profile shot like I did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there you go.
I like that T-shirt. Who you got on there?
These are like the Kenner figures.
The original Kenner characters.
Yeah, the original. Nice. I was going to say it was the original, however many, but they've got some Empire figures in there. I don't even remember where I fucking got this shirt. I think it was like 80s.
Padme? Is that a Padme one?
Right here?
That's Leia, isn't it?
Down next to Chewie. Who's that?
In the red.
That's Obi-Wan. That's Obi-Wan.
That's Obi-Wan?
Red to me.
Yeah.
It must be brown, but it looks like very red.
Even the original figure was like a reddish brown.
Yeah.
So yeah, cool shirt. I think it was 80s tees. Hella fucking expensive there because they pay for the license and all that shit.
Nice, very nice. And of course, Lost Jedi 22. How are you, my friend, Greg?
Who's that? I'm the Grand High Priest.
I'm sorry.
Of the Holy Order of the Jab. Thank you very, very much. Hail, my brothers and sisters of the faith. Welcome
the
to
Jabites.
Where did that come from? That was created on stream somewhere, wasn't it? On Tim's stream?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Crazy. All right, let's see who we've got in the chat. We've got some of our usual suspects. We've got Skimmertar here, dropping some the narratives fucked emojis from my members. Thank you to all my members and all my patrons. Thank you. We've got Trey Courtney. We've got Riff Magos. We've got Blake Sinclair. We've got Jade Shadow. Let's see.
Mara?
Hello, Patriot. Yes. Hello, Mara. We've got Michael. We've got Metal Long. Matthew's in the house. London Frog is in the house.
London Frog?
Yeah.
I thought it was London Fog.
Oh, it is. I put an R in there. See how retarded I am?
They're not French.
I heard Rhino likes hard R's. I didn't realize quite what you meant, and so you just added one in there.
Right. We've got Roger H with a thumbs up. I'm pretty sure. I don't know, but I'm just assuming it's always a thumbs up.
It's a thumbs up.
And the narrative is fucked. Yes, the narrative is fucked, ladies and gentlemen. You can get your merch. Check out the link in the description below. And we've also got Riff with a super chat saying, small contribution to Rhino's The Narrative's Fucked Fund. Thank you, Riff. Appreciate that. We've got the Geek Blends in the house. Timon's in the house. Who else we got? Soul Assassin. I got a new member. Timon. He worked out his credit card thing, right?
Yeah,
well
he
done,
joined
mate.
mine as well. Thank you, Timon.
Thank you for becoming a member. That I don't know exactly how many I've got. I'll check at the end of the stream.
He finally grew up enough to know how to, get a credit card and prevent it from being expired without ordering a new one. So congratulations, our friend from Brazil.
Ours just come like 2 months before they expire.
Same here. Same here.
Yeah. But yes, everyone, thank you for being here. I appreciate all of you. Now, we're going to, it's actually not on the title. I actually just wanted to talk a little bit about Space Jam. And the main reason why I watched your video, Ryan, on it. And it's very, very interesting to see where LeBron is taking this. It seems like LeBron always wants to try and meet up to the standard of course, Michael Jordan. And he just falls short every single time. He just can't catch a break with that.
He's been chasing Jordan's legacy for forever, and like Michael Jordan's a legend, and he's going to remain a legend, and it's tough to live up to that in general. But when you set that as your focus, and the entire time through your career you fail. At times where he succeeded, right? Jordan built a team up on his own, stayed there the entire, well, he retired obviously, but he stayed there and had other pieces build around him through the draft, right? The way that a team should be built in a lot of people's opinions, whereas LeBron didn't do that. LeBron went and joined a super team, bragged that they were going to win 10 championships, and then went 2-2 in the finals. And then he came back and created another super team in Cleveland, and he lost 3 championships there. He won 1. And then he goes to LA, forms another super team. So it's just this guy who's constantly been chasing the legacy of Jordan. And in the meantime, fucking Charles is loud as fuck.
Oh no! Will you just go away?
Is it time for him to eat?
No, not even close.
He just gets right in the mic.
Yeah.
But
he's normally not talkative.
And then he hates LeBron James, or maybe he realizes there's a fellow pussy being talked about in LeBron. But then the other side of it is that LeBron James gets so political, whereas Michael Jordan said one of the most intelligent marketing things you could ever hear when he gets asked about politics. Like, Michael, why don't you speak more? He says, "Hey man, Republicans buy sneakers too." Right. So, I mean, that tells you a little bit about probably where he politically lies, but he didn't want to alienate half of his potential fan base. Whereas LeBron James has made it very clear that if you don't agree with him, if you don't support him, if you don't agree with all these Marxist fucking ideas, if you don't get on the knee and bend over for Black Lives Matter, if you don't believe his lies about police brutality, then we don't want you to be a part of the NBA. And so we've seen the NBA go from 40 million people watching Michael Jordan's final shot with the Bulls to 7 million people watching LeBron James in the finals. He's destroyed the NBA, and now it's being reflected. It will be reflected in the box office, I think, of Space Jam.
Yeah, and we'll let LeBron know when he's qualified to mow Jordan's lawn. Let me just put it that way.
Well, he's definitely had a large role in hurting the NBA's ratings. I think the whole everybody join a super team thing has definitely turned off a lot of fans as well. And he was one of the major proponents and instigators of that whole let's essentially buy a championship instead of grind and earn one. Because if you look at Jordan did it all on one team. And I'm not a huge basketball person, but I'll tell you, Jordan made me watch. And I don't like basketball, professional basketball, but I watched it when he played.
Yep.
And that's a huge difference. And I think I'm I'm certainly not the only one. That's why Jordan got the numbers that he, and the NBA got the numbers that they got. And they had to grind. They had to work their way through the Pistons, getting knocked out of the playoffs, this year and then the next year. And then finally they overcame it. And then they hit the 3 in a row. Damn near hit 4 without MJ. They got knocked out, in the conference finals by the Knicks, right?
Eastern Conference Finals when when Jordan retired. They had a decent run that year, but they just couldn't get past the Knicks. So
no, because and one of the things is Jordan was killer in the playoffs. He was an assassin.
Well, I'm just wondering if, like, in a non-internet world, like, Jordan made it huge, worldwide, household name around the world in a non-internet world.
Yeah,
right?
No Twitter, Instagram, memes, or any of that shit. I mean, that was all in infancy. I mean, you had AOL chat rooms, maybe, and like IRC.
I'm wondering whether or not, if LeBron was back then, whether or not, like, okay, yeah, maybe you would have heard about him, but the acolytes and the things that he's achieved and all that, I don't think you would have sort of heard about him as much. And he wouldn't have changed the NBA the way Jordan changed the NBA. Jordan made the NBA, again, a world sport to watch. Like, everyone in the world is now watching the NBA.
In the 80s, the NBA was a joke. Nobody was really watching. And then Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, really that rivalry kind of ignited the NBA, and it got them, more recognition on a national stage. And then when Jordan came along and more people had been paying attention to the sport, he fucking just nitro boosted it. Right. He took it to the next level. He made it a fucking global game. And the biggest difference is that so many people love Michael Jordan. Even if he wasn't necessarily on their team, they like respected him and
well, some people love to hate him because they kept knocking their team out. Right.
Some people did, right. It was probably tough to be a fan if you're a Knicks guy or a Pacers guy during that time frame.
Yeah.
But the difference is LeBron James is one of the most hated athletes in the world. Not because he's necessarily winning a bunch of championships. It's because he's a piece of shit.
Yeah,
it's because he lied about hate crimes happening at his house when there was no evidence of it. It's because he lies in his city in Los Angeles, right? That's where he's living right now, and that's where he plays. He makes statements about black people being hunted in the streets by the police. But that he says that's the status quo, that we have to do something to fight back. And then, shockingly enough, a week later, after he makes these statements publicly using the NBA as a platform, shockingly, 2 sheriff deputies in Los Angeles they get an assassination attempt, right? Execution style. Somebody comes up to their car, puts a gun in there, and tries to fucking murder them. Random occurrence. I'm sure, LeBron James had nothing to do with that in his city. And then what happens to the guy who says you have to stand up for injustice anywhere and everywhere you see it? He gets asked by the LA County Sheriff, can you please say something about this shooting and say that that's not the way to handle things? Can you please say something for these police officers? LeBron James is silent, just like he was in China.
Well, it's also like, just bringing it back to Space Jam, he's always, like you mentioned, striving to do what Jordan did. And the funny thing is okay, he could have made any basketball movie. And even Kevin Durant's got a fucking movie, right? And it might just be a bit of a stupid movie, but I don't understand why he went after Space Jam specifically, and it was purely because he's got to go up against Jordan. But I don't see how over in the States, how was Space Jam received back when it came out?
Oh, it was huge.
Yeah, it was huge here too. Now, of
it
course,
was huge.
Jordan can't.
As Ryan had mentioned earlier, though, that but like it was of its time. Like, look, the number one, like everybody was wearing Looney Tunes T-shirts. Like Bugs Bunny was like, it was just a totally different time for that movie.
Yeah.
Plus, again, Jordan transcended like all sports. You had people who followed him and liked him that didn't follow and like basketball.
Yeah. Well,
Yep.
and like it's just different because this was 1996. Michael Jordan was literally like
Biggest name.
coming out of retirement to play for
Mhm.
the Bulls again. All eyes were on him. You know, and the Looney Tunes were kind of like they were relevant. The Looney Tunes were kind of in a little renaissance, I would say, in that period
Yeah, I
because
agree.
I remember a ton of old Looney Tunes reruns on TV all the time. Like
Nick at Night and all that had it.
yeah, I don't know if it was on Cartoon Network or Nick or what it was, but I remember watching Looney Tunes from probably the 60s or 70s or whatever they were constantly when I was around 8 at the time that movie came out. So it just like it was just a combination of two things that were very loved and very relevant at the time. You didn't really see this kind of half animation, half real life type of thing. I had mentioned Who Framed Roger Rabbit might have been around that time period too. So that's something kind of like it, but it just wasn't, it was interesting. Something people didn't see a lot of. And it was just fucking good fun. You know, parents could watch it because there was some stuff in there. They could watch it with their kids. They would get enjoyment out of it because obviously they knew who Michael Jordan was. It was just good. And this movie's unnecessary. People have been talking about it and complaining about it for 10 years. This rumor's been around for 10 years that LeBron's going to do Space Jam 2 because he wants to be Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And people have been saying, we don't fucking need you, LeBron. Go fuck yourself. But he's doing it anyway.
Yeah, Tiny Toons. That was part of the revival.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Obviously, no one's seen the movie yet, but what are some of the things that you've heard that in your video, Ryan? You mentioned the whole thing with Pepe Le Pew and the Me Too stuff. What was that? What did you hear? I can't believe what I was hearing, but did you find out in regards to that?
Well, there was like, I don't know, like 6 or 8 months ago, there was some big hubbub over cancel Pepe Le Pew. And then we find out that there was actually a scene was going to get cut from Space Jam because Pepe Le Pew was in it. They didn't want him to appear anymore. When you dig more and you find out what the scene was about, it's literally Pepe Le Pew hitting on some random chick at a bar, and he gets like water thrown on him and his hand slapped away or something. And LeBron James gives him a lecture about consent. Like, legitimately, it's like a little Me Too moment in this movie that got cut out, not because they didn't like the fact that you were lecturing about consent and that you were talking about Me Too, but because Pepe Le Pew is in it. So that's not okay. Lola Bunny's design has been changed.
Well, we saw that from the trailers and everything, and we knew that was sort of coming. But I felt like you made a really good point in your video, Ryan, in regards to the fact that by them changing it, it's putting more attention on it. It's like it's putting more attention on the fact that, so what? Were there so many people looking at this bunny and thinking, yeah, I want to fuck the shit out of that thing? Like, it's just...
Where's Lyndon?
Yeah, and I said that in my video. I said nobody. Well, I guess listen, maybe some people, 0.001% of the population.
There's an internet group for everything,
right? Are going to be fucking jerking it to Lola Bunny.
Yeah.
But like she looks the way she looks for a reason, right? She's supposed to be a bombshell, and then she does these stuff on the court. And you're like, whoa, dang, she's awesome, right? She was like the second best player on the team next to Michael Jordan. Like she was her own character and she was cool and people really liked her. People enjoyed her. People enjoyed the fact that, Bugs, his jaw drops when he sees her, but then he's like a gentleman and he pushes her out of the way and he fucking sacrifices himself for her. He gets landed on by the fat Charles Barkley fuck, right? So like she had a cool story, and then you decide to change that, and the reason they're changing that is because now Lola is going to be some SJW feminist icon. Lola Bunny is going to be woman. So she's been fine ever since they weren't together anymore. She's made it on her own. She's built something for herself. She's a strong, powerful woman who doesn't need no tits anymore or whatever. Like that's what they're going to do with her as a character. And it's what it is. And then the director was like shitting on fans for getting upset about them changing the design.
Yeah, I remember that.
But see, like that's where it gets ridiculous for me is so we complain or we bite back in regards to stop changing the characters. What's the purpose of it? We can see right through it, and then we get attacked for making those arguments and called the bigots and whatever else. Man, for me, I just don't see when or if it's ever going to turn the other way. Like, are we ever going to turn this corner, or is all our entertainment just doomed now for the rest of fucking time?
Yeah, that.
I think it's probably going to be doomed. But I think the other thing is, and there is some pushback, and there's some positive part. The pushback isn't hard enough. But the majority of us, and we are the majority, need to start telling Hollywood and well, honestly, professional sports in no uncertain terms that they are near the bottom of the list of all people on earth who should be moralizing anything. Everything that they condemn, they're guilty of and have been guilty of. They're the worst people on earth.
Yeah, they're disgusting.
Where the fuck do you guys get off lecturing me about morality? You guys, like, professional athletes, fucking Hollywood actors and producers and directors, you are the cesspool of depravity on this planet. You have been guilty of all the major sins. You're the ones that are out there doing it the most and have profited the most. Mm-hmm. How dare you fucking lecture us about these issues? You're the fucking guilty ones, and you can tell because you're the ones that are constantly inserting these messages and these interpretations that nobody else thinks of. Why are you guys thinking about it? Because you're fucking depraved fucking degenerates. God.
Hit them in their wallets and stick with it. That's what has to happen.
Gee, somebody's raging. I thought it would have been one of the R's before the Tuscan Bob gets out of the rage.
Yeah. Thank you, Lyndon. Tuscan Thunberg. How dare you?
See, Lyndon heard the Lola Bunny talk.
Well, yeah, look, it's ridiculous. We'll see what happens in regards to the box office numbers. I'd be very curious to see the 10 activists that go and watch and yay, LeBron.
Well, some parents are going to bring their kids. Like, some parents are going to bring their kids to it. We'll see if the people that this is supposed to appeal to go to it. I think like $20 million or something domestic box office, kind of what I'm expecting. Mm-hmm. And you do have to factor in that this is on HBO Max as well, which it's free. It's free to watch. Difference. It's free to watch on HBO Max as opposed to paying $30 extra like you need to on Disney Plus, which is crazy to me.
That's interesting.
But yeah.
What's this you got?
Shit, that's the IMDb one, but we can pull up the Rotten Tomatoes.
I hate that animation. I hate how they've turned them 3D. Yeah. Like, it's so stupid.
But Lyndon likes it because you can see the actual texture to the fur. But 3.7 out of 10 with 1.6 thousand votes. Not a huge sample size, but not off to a good start. Not like Mandalorian final episode. Let me go to this other one really quick.
What do you call it, Ryan, in your video? Not a new legacy. You mixed up that game.
I said the Lost Legacy. I said the Lost Legacy.
It's so funny when you heard
just from try that one. Uncharted.
Yeah, it's so funny when you're recording a video and sometimes you just spit out something. I've done it so many times and it's not even the right word or the right thing that you're trying to say.
I do it a lot on Sports Wars with athletes. Sometimes athletes I just have it in my head that like either their name's pronounced differently or like I accidentally say another athlete and I can't stop for some reason sometimes.
What's this?
So Rotten Tomatoes.
What a shit dark! What a shit fucking dark theme. I can't even see that 38.
We're at this 38.
No, like when you go down to the actual little splatter in the middle of the screen. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, this is brave. I need to give them some feedback. But yeah, 38%, 89 reviews. That is the critics, right?
Yep, that's critics.
And then nothing on audience score yet. Obviously.
Well, it's actually funny that it's 38 there because usually when it's like low in the critics score, it's usually high in the audience score.
I think this will probably be around like 45 or 50 audience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because some people
Well-
don't think like us. They just go in and they're like, "Yay, it was a fun movie." I see so many people praising a lot of the movies that came out in the last 2 weeks, and I'm like, these can't be good movies, you know?
Well, I'll let you know. I recorded a bit of an interview style video with, I'm not going to spoil it too much, but with a normie of one of the franchises that we all sort of talk about and like. And it's very interesting hearing some of the things that she has to say about how she feels about some of, like, a lot of the stuff that we complain about, the normies really don't care.
Yeah, it's because they don't know any better. They're ignorant.
Yeah. But they're starting, I will say, some of them are actually starting to notice these things where they're just sort of like, that's just stupid. Like,
those are the
identity
people we have to
politics.
try to get on our side, right?
Yeah.
Those are the people, because once those people start seeing it and recognizing it, then,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Lyndon in the chat says Zendaya can get it. Yeah, that's the problem is they wanted Lola Bunny to be redesigned to have the body type of Zendaya. So that's why she got fucking A- tits, I think. That's what they did to Lola Bunny.
It's called the pear shape.
So stupid. So stupid. So what, are we going to go back to Who Framed Roger Rabbit and desexualize Jessica Rabbit?
Rhino, fucking look up Jessica Rabbit Lola Bunny and hit news on Google. See what comes up.
All right.
I'll do it. You're running. I'll do it. You're running.
Let me get this super chat.
Yeah.
Leave the lightning for $2. Thank you, mate. Says Lola Bunny was always trash and should be shot. Dude, that's a little much.
Is there an
I
anime
suppose-
Lola? That's the
I
only
suppose
question I have.
We are hunting rabbit, right? And while you're actually looking for that, I will just Jock Nerdy, of course, in his usual way, sent me a super chat just as we finished last week on Streamlabs for $10. Says the casual rage isn't always that isn't all that casual. Fuck Disney. Thank you,
Nice.
Jock Nerdy.
So here, let me share this. This is the first news article that came up. How Lola Bunny broke the internet, and then a picture of Lyndon and a drawing of Lyndon with love hearts with Lola Bunny. This entire article talks about how she was sexualized because of Jessica Rabbit, the reaction to Jessica Rabbit, and how they used Lola Bunny that way. I want to see if I can find it for you.
This is the thing, though, is what's wrong with having women looking sexy?
Lola Bunny and Jessica Rabbit were created from the male gaze for the male gaze during a time when the entertainment industry assumed the majority of its audiences were white, straight, and male. Even when it was obvious those audiences were under 13 years old.
No, I think they were just playing on the stereotypes of a guy oogling over an attractive woman.
Just the male gaze.
Yeah, okay. Well,
Yeah, but they weren't like portraying it as like it was like a great thing. It was just, you know, the main character would get distracted by it and then get thumped or something. Like I don't know, like, do these people ever watch like a Max Fleischer cartoon from back in the day? Like Jessica Rabbit was not the first incarnation of a sexy animated character.
Yeah, Jessica
I'm pretty sure Betty Boop was animated, right?
Rabbits, yeah, they actually talk about that in this article. Jessica Rabbit was a dirty whore. She played patty cake with some random dude, so fuck her.
But Rhino, make the point you made, I think it was you, a few weeks ago about this. What about the lesbian women that find Lola sexy as well? You know, what about them? So
like, okay,
by canceling them, you're being anti-LB, whatever the fuck it is.
That's
yeah,
right. That's yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. So you've got lesbians out there that view these female characters and they look at them and think that they're attractive.
They rub one out.
Then you've got gay characters. You've got gay men who find the male characters attractive. So what? We've got to desexualize them as well for those people.
Yeah.
This is where there's so many holes in these activists' thought processes, really, and the way that they actually make their points. And that comes back around to what Greg said earlier in regards to these are the the dregs of society. These are the racists. These are the actual sexist people out there.
It's simpler than that. There's two groups of people that don't like the sexualization of women. The first is ugly women, and the second group is women who have already made their money and want to pull that ladder up and prevent anybody else from taking a territory.
Yep.
That's your two groups. The rest of them would die to be like, oh please, like I'm hot, cast me as the next Scarlet or as the next Black Widow, please.
Black Widow.
Like objectify my ass. I'll take the millions for a movie role that is transformative. Thank you. It's funny that in this world,
that bitch appeared fully nude. Fuck Scarlett Johansson.
Right.
Fucking self-righteous cunt. She's made her money, just like you said.
Right, yeah, and now she just wants to pull the ladder up and prevent, now that she's older, she doesn't want the younger person coming and snatching her roles now.
No, yeah, no pun intended with snatch.
Yes, pun very much intended.
and that's the thing, you don't mind making your money based solely off your looks. If Scarlett Johansson looked like Lena Dunham, she probably wouldn't have a very big career, would she? But she doesn't. She's attractive, and she used that, and that's fine. You should be. So do all the men that are these big movie stars. Some men don't have that. Some men don't have that. Some men are charismatic. Some men are character actors. Steve Buscemi. Look how
I was just going to say Steve Buscemi
is. That dude is not a looker by any stretch of the imagination, but he has made a name for himself in a career, both for roles that he took, maybe sometimes because of the way he looked, but also for some of the acting jobs that he's done.
Yeah.
Well, like a William Dafoe type of guy. He's not, he's not a Hollywood pinup dude, right? He's kind of, got that really kind of
not at all
fucked up jaw and everything.
Put a bag on your head guy, yeah.
Right, but he's made a career. I mean, he's made that part of his thing. That it's normal. To get roles what Scarlett and people like her don't understand is when you were 25, you took the role away from somebody else too. You understand that, right?
There are people who are literally sucking dicks out there to get these roles. Just ask Harvey Weinstein. They all
right, yeah, literally.
Ask Leslie Headland.
Yeah.
She's the one that
don't ask me about the Headland. Yeah,
she's sucking Kathleen Kennedy's dick.
She's the one that's behind him going like this. So
before we get into this, what do we got here, Tim?
Okay, Skirmitar video.
Of course.
I believe I shared audio, and he had me record some dialogue just for this, and it's pretty funny, and it's on the Star Destroyer Executor, and yes, that's the way you pronounce it. So here we go. Do you want to full screen it or not?
No, that's right. Because we're
getting here we go. Here we go. Tell me if you can't hear it right away. Let me turn the volume up.
Oh, that's good. Here comes the copyright claim.
Oh yeah.
Lord Rhino, make way to the planet Yagdul and bring the young Omega to me.
This is all about Omega, basically.
Once she is secured, you should kill the Bad Batch.
It's not the Bad Batch, it's them being babysitters in space.
Carry out my command, Lord Rhino.
And that's
pretty good. That's pretty good.
He slowed down Rhino's voice there to get it to be the Vader.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
We love some Skirmitar. He's good.
That is awesome.
That boy good.
We've also got Culture Casino for $5. Thank you, Culture. Saying, holy heck, it's the Star Wars Academy Live. Oh, wait, this is Lego Academy. The FBI are looking for your Lego set. Rhino. Sets, Rhino.
But no, yours are put together, so it's not even comparative anymore because that dude's set wasn't even put together. The fully assembled.
Yeah.
I believe
in the box.
they're actually looking because they've officially changed the name of that Boba Fett starship there. So that's
Yeah.
that's why they're looking for it.
Yeah.
Can we see your boxes?
I officially have Slave 1. It's written on the box, which I've put back downstairs, so I'm not going to be able to show you. But
Rhino's a proud slave owner, just so
Correct.
everyone knows.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, let's get into this. So who on the panel's actually watched Black Widow? You've watched it, Ryan, haven't you? Yeah. I haven't, unfortunately, or fortunately. Have you watched it, Tim or Greg? I don't think you have you?
Nope.
No.
Greg?
No.
Okay.
Watched plenty of videos covering it, and I feel like I could talk about it based on what everybody else. There were some pretty detailed synopsises and plot details, so enough for me to say, I'm not going to watch it.
I think the biggest story coming out of this is this. The whole gender swap of Taskmaster. If you haven't seen this is the man here. What's his name?
Andy Lister.
Andy Lister. He's played a lot of stunt. He's been a stunt double for a lot of characters. He was under the suit the entire time. Pretty much played the entire role, and then they give us a little, subversion of expectations. Give us this reveal that looks so ridiculous.
Look at how tiny her head looks compared to the suit.
You know what it reminds me of? Do you remember the Mario movie? The big things with the little heads.
Yeah.
The Mario Brothers movie. It reminds me of that. That's
the Goombas. Yeah.
The Goombas. That's it.
Is it just me, or does that suit look like she's got like a little beer belly going?
Well,
but
It looks
even the
weird.
shoulders. The shoulders are way too broad for that neck.
It doesn't look good at all.
No.
Everyone's saying it's a green screen on that. It does look like it. I know she has some interviews specifically talking about how heavy this suit was. And I'm sure it was really heavy because it wasn't made for her. It was made for a man. But so I don't know.
So did she actually get in the suit, or is that just like a CGI cut and paste?
A lot of people are saying this is CGI'd, and it doesn't look like her
body.
It doesn't look like she's in that. But at the same time, she has interviews out there talking about it. So there's only two parts where you see her with this. It's this scene right here, and then at the very end when she's like been defeated, essentially, and Scarlett Johansson randomly happens to find just one more. She shouldn't apologize, I don't think, but randomly happens to find one more vial of this stuff that they just keep finding anytime they need to have it, and is able to smash
like
it.
a video game.
It just is able to smash it and free her, which still doesn't make any sense to me because I just assumed like it was that it was like the chip, not necessarily that, but whatever. But she's also appears with no helmet there as well, and where she has the one line, "Is he gone?" That's all she says during the entire thing.
So what I'm hearing though too about this character is that she all she has to, like, she's the bad guy, and all she has to do is really sort of say sorry at the end, and everyone's sort of like, oh, okay. So
she doesn't say sorry.
No, like not. I know.
The movie tries to make her sympathetic, but she doesn't.
That's
like,
right. That's
she
what I'm
doesn't
trying to
think
get
she
at.
did.
Kind of like Falcon in the
But
Winter
I don't know.
Soldier.
Again, I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I did watch Gary's review on it, and when I'm going to say it the same way you did, when she's been defeated, Taskmaster, Scarlett gets down on her knees and apologizes to Taskmaster.
Yeah,
he actually played a clip there, and I just thought, what? So she's saying sorry for defeating him? Or defeating her?
So that girl was like a 9-year-old or 8-year-old girl when Black Widow was originally in Budapest, and her way of joining S.H.I.E.L.D. was to kill the leader of the Red Room, who was Admiral Dreykov, and in order to get to him, she used the girl and thought both of them had died. Somehow both of them survived, which they don't really explain. I don't know how Dreykov survived completely unaffected. She survived, but had to be rebuilt and had a chip put in her spine and her face is all fucked up, but Dreykov was perfectly fine. They don't really explain that, but that's why she's saying sorry, because she's the reason that she's like this. Black Widow's the reason.
Right. So it's her fault that she's the way she is.
So if anyone in the chat is as confused as I am, let's use this as an opportunity. So is this another one of those last minute changes, kind of like with Doctor Strange?
That's one thing that some people are saying, and you had the thread pulled up with these rumors. Now I listened to an interview coming from OT. I don't remember his last name, but the guy who played essentially like kind of an arms dealer, kind of like a fixer for Scarlett Johansson in this. He only appears in I think 3 scenes. And yeah, this guy here. And there's a lot of rumors about him originally being Taskmaster. I listened to an interview with him where he didn't really confirm any of that. You know, he completely shied away from it, and like it didn't seem like he was stepping around answering the question. It just seemed like he flat out said, "Nah, I was never that Taskmaster. It was fun to be part of theories, but you know." So it's tough to know what to believe specifically, but the fact is they had a man do all these stunts the entire way through, and it doesn't really make. I feel like there's female stunt people that could have done this.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like there's female stunt people out there that could have done this role.
Absolutely.
No,
That have the physical prowess to be able to pull off those stunts. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, they're the best at what they fucking do. Look at all the people they had doing stunts for like Wonder Woman, right? Like I guarantee you could find someone like that would be able to do it.
But also, too, you had her complaining about how heavy the suit was, and now we're supposed to believe that she's doing these spins and flips and stuff, you know, throwing shields and stuff like that in it. Okay.
But her complaining could have literally been like they did a couple test shots with her in the suit, and she's like, "I can't do this," and they're like, "Okay, we're gonna go some."
It could have been like. I do think this one looks digital to me. The one at the end, it could literally just be the scene at the end where they have her and Scarlett Johansson fight, and that easily could have been a reshoot, like easily, because it was literally just them. It was just Scarlet Witch and just her. I think they might have had some of the bitches, the Black Widows at the end, come up and embrace her.
Yeah, I do that all the fucking time too, because it's Scarlett Johansson and Scarlet Witch. I always fuck them.
Scarlett Johansson, yeah, no, I know, it's fucking hard.
Yeah,
that's funny. Yeah, right. Well,
I don't know what it is. You know, like these fan
that just looks silly.
We've seen it in Star Wars. We've seen it in Marvel over and over again. It wouldn't necessarily be out of the question, because then if this was originally supposed to be Taskmaster, yeah, it's a person of color. Of course it is, because that's just what Marvel's going to do. So maybe they took a role away from a man of color to give it to a woman. But either way, like his name isn't Tony Masters. Like,
yeah,
his name is Jacob or something. I don't know what it is. It's not Tony Masters, though.
She's got a dude's name just to help subvert those expectations. Is that what it is? They've changed.
Well, no, her name's Antonia.
Oh, okay.
Of course, they name Antonia. That's supposed to be a tribute to Tony. Like, come the fuck on. You're not. You're gender swapping him. Don't pretend like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
Now, there was one other scene that I saw. I actually saw it because of Gary's review. The talk about the female body parts. Was that a part of the movie, Ryan, where you did cringe? Like, because this is the moment where, for all those straight white homophobes and sexists, racists, bigots out there are supposed to feel uncomfortable. Yeah. Did you run away from the screen?
No, because it's not like the 1990s or something. Like, I just don't think the idea of talking about the menstrual cycle makes men cringe anymore, especially not when it's like a super clinical way. You know, it wasn't at all. They were like, I don't have a uterus. They remove all of my reproductive organs. Okay, it didn't make me squirm. maybe it'd be like, oh yeah, I remember that. You said that in Age of Ultron. You talked about Age of Ultron and men didn't squirm. But it was just weird because that was a man who wasn't their biological father, but he was
the father figure.
He was acting as their father and was their father figure. He hasn't seen them in a decade and a half, 2 decades, however long they're pretending has passed. I don't know. Probably more than that. And that's like basically the first thing out of his mouth is it your time of the month?
That's such a stupid. This is the thing that I look at with that is why is that relevant? I mean, we know that they remove all the female body parts from what we don't need any more dialogue to explain any more of that.
But it's Marvel's cringe humor. Like, I don't know. I've been over the Marvel brand of humor for a long time myself, but like this is just getting like dumb now. It's gone from just kind of like roll your eyes to now just like really just kind of gag and cringe because it's just so badly. It's not only not funny, it's poorly placed. It reminds me of the comedy or the attempts of comedy in The Last Jedi in a lot of ways. There you go, Rhino. I brought it back to Star Wars. I have points, right?
I think that was by design, though. You know.
Well, yeah, because it's like, oh, we don't want to have this heavy moment at all, so we're just gonna completely disrupt it with just an out of place, out of touch, cringy humor. The cringe isn't the fact that there was lady bits. The cringe part was like if Ryan said, it's the fact that it's this father figure asking, like, "Are you on your period?" Like, that's what you're concerned about. Like,
and whose dad ever asked that fucking question of their daughter? Like, honestly.
Oh, I'm sure there's some of them that are like, but like,
maybe no, I wouldn't.
But not after,
I wouldn't.
Not the first thing you like. Maybe if they were really comfortable with them and they'd been like, you know what I mean. But they weren't.
Yeah, like
the whole family dynamic in this movie is completely unearned because they hadn't seen each other in like 25 years or whatever. Like it shouldn't feel like it did when they were like, "Oh, get the whole gang back together. We're all messing around. Fuck you.
Yeah,
fuck Marvel." It was not a good movie. I think that. I think
the accents were really put me off more than anything in that clip because I saw Gary's video as well. Like the heavy Russian cliche accents was off-putting to me more than actually what they were saying.
Well, then the guy who plays Dreykov is like, he's a British dude. He's doing an accent, and it's like, it doesn't sound super Russian sometimes. It wasn't like make or break for me. It was more about the content than the shit. I just like, I don't feel like anybody gets held accountable for anything anymore in Marvel movies. Like, Tony gets held accountable, and he holds himself accountable in some ways in what we see the process of the entire MCU, right? That's what starts the Sokovia Accords, right?
Yep.
Is that now he doesn't necessarily make the right steps in order to try to make up for this, but he feels responsible for all these things that have happened. He's trying to take accountability, even if it's maybe not the way we want him to or the way that we think he should. You know, he sees this and he's trying to make amends for this. And in the end, he sacrifices everything, and it's rewarding. Whereas, you know, in WandaVision, there are no repercussions for Wanda for what she did to all those people, right? It's just about how sympathetic Wanda is because she feels bad. In this movie, you know, Melina, the Rachel Weisz's character, it's literally her fault. She's Leslie Headland. She's she's Epstein's chick, Maxwell. Like, that's who she is. She is the person who has facilitated this for decades. She is the one responsible. And all of a sudden, flip of a switch, she decides she's going to betray everybody. And she's just, it's funny. We're just laughing as I'm joking because I betrayed everyone. Never gets held accountable for anything that she's done because, it's the man's fault. Just like Leslie Headland's not held accountable for the things Harvey Weinstein did because it's the evil man. And this very much, like, she's kind of like Leslie Headland in this movie, to be honest with you, because Dreykov is clearly Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
And And it's so fucking weird. Florence Pugh, you know, they bust Red Guardian out of the Soviet prison. Like, these prison guards are just doing their jobs, right? They're just doing what they're supposed to do, not let prisoners escape. And I mean, they kill a bunch of them, and inevitably more die in a fucking avalanche. Probably all of them died, and all the prisoners probably died. Like, there's no form of accountability for that at all.
I heard that they're pretty committed jumping out of like a plane or something with no parachutes just to, you know, try and complete a mission or something.
Yeah, maybe they were brainwashed. Who knows?
Pretty dedicated to the cause, aren't they?
Well, it's part of this thing. Like there's a couple factors that are going into this, and I think one of the primary things is Hollywood doesn't like heroes. And it's not that they just don't like male heroes. They don't like heroic characters. Actual, real, true heroes. It's why they hate Luke Skywalker. And it's why that they're trying to make every one of these villains sympathetic. Because basically what they're saying is, it's again, bring it back to The Last Jedi. DJ, right? There's no moral difference between the Republic and the Empire. It's just two different sides of the same coin. There's like a moral equivalency, and it's just a matter of perspective as to which one is the good guy and the bad guy.
It's
that's why they keep they're destroying the concept of heroes in an era of superhero movies. Yeah,
it's nihilism.
Winter Soldier.
It's postmodernism. It's let's get rid of any concept of.
There's no heroes. Morality. Everybody's a bad guy, and it's just a matter of perspective.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just before we go any further, I'll just introduce another guest that's just jumped in the back room. Hello, Stig Kenobi. How are you, my friend?
Hi. Hello there.
Hello there.
Hello.
Well, at
there.
least you didn't lose your YouTube account, Steve.
Yeah, because that's really important for me.
Evidently.
Yeah.
Okay, and we've had another super chat from Culture Casino, $5. Thank you again, my friend. He goes, from someone who knows, in that shot, they brought in the stunt double to fix the height issue problem. Superimposed her performance on the man. But again, that was the dude that did all the performing. So yes, they've superimposed her over it just by pasting her head on it. But like, I hate it.
That's what they did for Luke Skywalker. So everyone should have loved it, right?
Yeah, true.
You know why they're doing this, though?
Thank you, Ryan.
You know, this whole thing we see in society now, it's basically a divide and conquer, right? By sexuality, race, what have you. The one thing that unified everyone was Marvel and Star Wars and stuff like that, which is why it's being attacked, because it unifies people. And they're doing this kind of stuff in the writing by, making sympathetic villains and stuff, because they're trying to normalize the behavior and actions of the people in charge in the world today.
And the people not in charge of the world.
Yeah, it's
everyone.
It's okay to do.
Yeah.
It's okay to do what Leslie Headland did, because look, Marvel does it too.
Well, it's they're now making it okay. It's kind of like the whole thing with cuties, for example. It's just sort of starting to make things a little bit more okay with the sort of that side of things.
It is the frog in a pot of water, right? If you throw a frog in a pot of boiling water, he's gonna fucking hop right out because it's fucking hot. But if you put a frog in there and slowly over several decades you turn it up, that's what happens. Imagine when there was a big argument in this country about gay marriage, right? Go back to then, and then imagine people playing that clip of the San Francisco Men's Choir, right? And that got a big reaction, right? That got a lot of pushback. Imagine if that had happened 20 years ago. Those people might be fucking dead, honestly, right now.
Yeah.
If that had happened 20 years ago. But we have changed, right? The dial is turned up. Now the water is fucking 150 degrees. Then they bumped it up to 212. Well, that's a little hot. We got to wait a little longer for that. We have to wait a little longer before we can really drop the mask. So another decade and we'll be there. We'll be at 212.
Yeah,
spot on. Same with the cutie stuff, I fear.
Yeah.
Because
20 years ago, there is no way that would have been, and it wasn't okay, right? Where there was backlash, but 20 years ago, there wouldn't even been a controversy because it would have got boom done.
Yeah, it would never have been made.
Yes,
it would never have been made, and that's what's so crazy about, like, you know, I identify this way, or I you know, I'm not a bad guy because it's just, you know, it's the way I am. It might be an illness, it might be a sickness, but it's the way I am. And you've got to accept me for the way I am. You know, you can't criticize me. You can't call me names. You can't, like, okay, take bullying out. Just, you cannot sit there and go, okay, so make me understand what you're trying to say, and then they basically just jump down your throat. There's no more conversation anymore. There's no more discourse that takes place two ways. It's my way or the highway. So
Did you see what's happening in England? The UK government, I think, is pushing to make it a hate crime if you call someone ugly.
Yeah.
Well, they don't have free speech. There's no First Amendment in Britain. There's, like, they're going, like, the people that were nasty over a soccer match, like, are actually could face criminal charges for it.
Mm-hmm.
For being,
for calling someone a mean name.
Yeah.
That should never, like, let's just break it down. Is that okay? No. Right? No, it's not okay. But for calling someone a name, you are going to prison.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
At a soccer match, though, it would be insane because when a player, you know, dives and fakes injuries and stuff, people are going to yell names at him. And rightfully so. But now they're going to go to jail for that.
These I think are the people that reacted. We're posting things on social media about the
race of certain players that missed their penalty kicks.
Yeah. These are like, you know, this is like racial slurs and shit, right?
Yeah.
Like that's
these are not things that, this is not speech that we would endorse, but all speech is protected, because here's the problem. You go down this slippery slope, and it is a slippery slope. Who gets to decide? Who's the arbiter of what is and what isn't, quote unquote, hate speech or too far? Because there's a lot of people in this country, the United States, that would say that wearing a MAGA hat is too far.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And that's why you're 100% right.
Because he's a racist, and if you support him, you're a racist. And if you don't say anything against him, you're also a racist.
Pedro thinks anyone that's wearing one of those hats is a Nazi. So,
right, and you're morally allowed to punch them because, right, punch Nazis.
Mm-hmm. Just quickly, let me get this. $2 from Culture Casino. He says, compare the front show to the side shot.
He meant shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was following up on his earlier point.
Yeah. Is there a front shot of her in this?
There is. Yeah. Let me see. What's her fucking name? Olga Karolinko, right?
I haven't seen it myself.
The fuck? Why am I? Shit.
And also for $2 from Culture. Thank you, Culture Casino. Heroes make moral decisions. Authoritarianism, is that right?
Authoritarians don't.
Authoritarians, sorry, don't. Yeah.
Well, they make moral decisions, but it's their own morals, right? Not anything we consider to be ethical.
Well, it's whatever you feel that you want to do. Like there's no, and like it's so weird because at the same time they're advocating. It's just a weird world. So actions are not something that, I mean, the actions have moral ambiguity. Like there's always two sides to every action, and you have to understand why they did things and blah blah blah. But then just like not speaking is considered a moral offense.
Silence is violence.
Yep.
Not flying a hashtag, not having pronouns, not changing your profile pic to a rainbow. Like what?
Not doing those weird
issue.
prayers in downtown Minneapolis, you know?
Yeah.
Those weird
Right.
non-religious prayers and all that shit.
Right. Like that's more offensive than people's like actual bad actions, because you have to understand their bad actions, and like, you know, who are you to judge their actions?
Yeah.
But they're judging your lack of action even.
Rhino, why do you have a picture of Enfys Nest up here? I'm a little confused.
You know what?
That's what this reveal was.
So
Olga Korolenko is gorgeous, but what the hell did I do to her, though?
Yeah, this Olga Korolenko is the chick from. I mean, like, here's another picture of her. She's a Bond girl, right? She was a Bond girl in Quantum of Solace. And she's a burn victim in this, right? She survived an explosion somehow, and I could have made a very easy clickbait video earlier today, because the writer appeared on some YouTube channel podcast thing and was like, there's been a lot of backlash about Taskmaster, and somebody DM'd me and said that Taskmaster, or that your portrayal of Taskmaster is the worst betrayal of my life. And I replied to him, well, you haven't had a very bad life then, I guess. But like, he goes and he talks, and I don't disagree with that. If that's the worst thing ever, you're kind of fucked. But or like, you're fucked in the head if that's literally what you think is the worst thing to ever happen to you. But he talks about how, well, we tried to fit, you know, Tony Masters and make it Tony Masters and have it make sense with the story, but it just wouldn't work. And in the end, this just fit better. It's like, well, then don't make it fucking Taskmaster, you stupid cuck. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You used the name Taskmaster to sell this. People were like, when the trailers first came out, that's what everybody was talking about, not Black Widow. It was about Taskmaster. Some people didn't like the way his outfit was. Some people were really excited because they thought, wow, what an awesome character for Black Widow to go up against.
Yep.
But Taskmaster is a big reason people did get excited for this. But that is why you didn't have this be unoriginal. It could have just been a nameless, faceless person in black. It could have been easily. It should have been that if you wanted it to be a fucking bitch. But no, you used Taskmaster and you inserted this character in there to make people go, oh my gosh, go fuck yourselves.
Yep. That looks different, though. For the front shot, definitely looks different from the side shot. It looks like she more fits in that, and I reckon that's possibly one of the shots that they did with her actually in the suit.
Yeah, that was cultural.
Complaining about it.
Yep.
Yeah, but the unless they have, just because it could be that they've CGI'd the shoulders, made the shoulders look smaller. I mean, they could try and do that, I suppose.
Maybe. I don't know.
But yeah. Just ridiculous where this fucking world is going to, where our entertainment is going. All right, let's seeing as we're just on Marvel, let's talk a little bit about Loki, the season finale of Loki. Who here has watched it? Tim?
No.
Have you watched any of it? No. Greg has it.
Nope.
Ryan has. Stig, have you watched any of it? No. Okay. I think he's ducked out for a sec. Yep. All right. What do you think of it, Ryan? The whole series. Just general thought.
I don't like Loki. The whole series. One thing with specifically this show, maybe more than the others, is it feels like all it needs to be is a 2-hour movie that they stretch out to be able to make a series on Disney Plus.
It seems that way with all the series that they've done, though. I will say that too.
Yeah. As a whole, one of the problems I have with Loki is that the reason everyone cares about Loki is because he was a great villain, right? An interesting villain who got introduced in Thor. Then he became a bigger threat. He was the one pulling the strings in Thor. No one really knew. And then he becomes a bigger threat in Avengers. And, he gets defeated, gets humbled a bit, gets captured. His character further evolves in Thor: The Dark World, when it is revealed that he does care about his brother, he does care about his mother a lot, you know. And then it seems like he makes some big sacrifice at the end of Thor: Dark World, but he doesn't because he's still alive. He actually takes over Odin's spot. In Thor: Ragnarok, we see what he's been up to. And even though he basically made his father forget a bunch of shit and trapped him on Earth, it is very clear in that moment where he dies that he did care about him, you know? He did always feel second fiddle to Thor, and that his father had kind of maybe wronged him of the legacy he was meant to have, but he still cared about Odin. And then Loki goes through this story where he helps his brother because he does love his brother Thor, truly. And then in Endgame, or in Infinity War, he tries to do the right thing. He tries to do the right thing, ends up getting his neck snapped by Thanos in a very fucking meaningful, powerful death.
Yep.
And that's a great arc. It's a great arc for this character in the MCU, and all of us watched that, and that a lot of people liked him because of that. Just off the bat, this Loki hasn't gone through any of that growth that we care about. This Loki has just been defeated in New York, and now has the Tesseract, and then he gets caught. So
and then he gets shown everything that happens after that.
Yeah, he gets a Cliff Notes version of what happened, right?
Yep.
But
yeah, that's not the same as experiencing it.
In the same way that I was pissed off, they've done this twice now, in the same way that people didn't think it was rewarding to have Thanos come, like Thanos from the past come without actually doing all those things. It wasn't as meaningful for them to defeat him at the end of Endgame. It's not meaningful for Loki to go through these things. So it's not earned with Loki. It's not the same character.
Yep.
And while it's not the same character, it's at least still the same theoretical person who could have had these experiences. But they make Loki this sad piece of shit. This is not a humbled character. This is a character who still has this ego.
Well, they tore him down.
They tore him down completely. Yep. And he is a dude who gets kicked repeatedly in the nuts by Lady Civ. It's a dude who the last half of this season, all he can talk about is how fucking awesome Sylvie is and how special she is.
Fucking stick his dick in her.
Would you say that it's basically they're just being sloppy and not giving the development to the character because they just
what they tried
based on what the audience know about the character rather than what the character actually would know himself.
Yes, absolutely. And it's sort of like what Ryan said. They tried to give him the Cliff Notes version of him, right? So that now he's got the motivations to change his ways, right? But it just doesn't work that way in regards to what Greg said, experiencing something and being told you did something.
No,
two very different things.
It's completely different. Like if you were to go back in time or like show yourself a montage clip of the key events of your life in the last 20 years, that doesn't turn that person in the past into you. You're still because that person, like, we are the sum of all of our experiences, like who we are as people, as individuals, whether we're gods or not, we are the sum of our experiences. And part of that is having lived those experiences and felt those emotions at the time. Because when you watch it back many, many years later, you have the benefit of that hindsight and being distanced from it. And the emotions aren't the same because you're not in that moment. That's like, you can't show, like, if you showed a toddler a montage of a person's entire life that they're about to live, that doesn't change the toddler into the 80-year-old person. It just doesn't work that way because we need to experience it, the emotions and the things at the moment. That's how we remember them. That's what makes people people. Like, it's such a fundamental misunderstanding of how people work, just on a basic level.
And it's the second time they've done it, right? They did it with Thanos.
Right, yeah.
And to me, it wasn't rewarding. That's why that you have this meme. I don't even know who you are. But you're right. That's not as funny as you fucking think it is. He doesn't know who she is. That's why it's not very rewarding in Endgame when they defeat Thanos.
Yep. Well, this series for me, I will say, and if anyone watched my review, it got better. Even though over time they dragged down Loki more, I feel like there was elements to the story that were fine. That at the very beginning, everybody thought that they, which they sort of did. They took away all the free will, and what happened in the MCU, there was no other way that this was going to go down. Free will is gone, all of that sort of thing, and it gets referenced at the end of this series. And that's why Sylvie wants to kill Kang so much. How do you feel? Do you know much about the character of Kang, Ryan?
I'm not a huge Kang person. I do know that I didn't like this portrayal.
Okay.
Like the actor, okay, black guy, whatever. Okay. The Marvelization, we should call it that instead of tokenization. Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Funny.
All I could think of was we was Kang during this, but the idea of him being like, so hey, black guy, can you just be as charismatic as possible? That's not someone, but it's a different multiverse version of Kang. Right? So it is not Kang the Conqueror, who is likely to be a big villain in Marvel Phase 4, right?
Correct.
So that's how they're going to be able to excuse that. It's not going to be the kind of authoritative Kang the Conqueror.
It's like a variant of Loki being a crocodile.
Exactly. So they're able to get away with it like that because, well, it's not the Kang, it's just a Kang. So they will be able to get away with it like that. But I didn't like how it was just like, hey, guy, can you just talk for 10 minutes in a way that Marvel fans like nowadays? Can you just be as charismatic and as funny as possible during your 10-minute monologue?
Yeah,
that's kind of how I felt it was.
And then he knows no more of the timeline, and it starts breaking off. He's being like, it's like he's tripping on mushrooms or something the whole time he's talking. But how do you feel about Sylvie? Like her as a character coming in, it's lends more credence to the whole MCU thing, but and also in the story of Sylvie, how did you feel about the fucking love story shit between her and Loki?
So, on one hand, right? On one hand, yeah, this character, this point in Loki, if there's gonna be a person that does kind of love himself, right, it would be Loki, and I get the meme, but at the same time, it's fucking weird. It's weird to have them kiss. Now, if they do eventually do anything with kind of the actual Enchantress storyline, that could be interesting, I suppose, if that's the way that they're going, but I don't know. Now, the idea that they did have Sylvie be the cause although she did give the universe free will again, she's also going to be the cause for this multiverse
and the chaos that goes on.
Yeah, so I don't know.
That was probably one element that I kind of did like, is that after she killed him, she realized that she fucked up,
right,
straight away, because he goes, "I'll see you soon," and gives her a wink. And it's like, whoa, okay. So that's the sort of element of this that I actually didn't really mind. Right? If they had have done it maybe a little bit better in regards to the character development and stuff like that. See, in the fight that these two have, just going back to Loki just really quickly for one sec, the character of Loki, this should have been about ruling for him, but it wasn't. It was just about keeping Sylvie happy and safe or something. Like, what the fuck is that? That's not character development. To me, that's not character. He fell in love with himself as a female, and now all he cares about is her being safe. He doesn't care about what he does. He doesn't care about him ruling the throne. He doesn't care of Asgard or anywhere, right? And it's even referenced in the fight. This isn't about ruling, whereas in some way, shape, or form, I still think it should have been. Right? This is his opportunity to rule the universe, right? He's got to look at it through at least that lens. Yes, he might have some elements of, falling in love with Sylvie or whatever, if they really want to put that in. But, there's even a moment where he goes, I'm a liar, and I know that he's not lying. He's trying to persuade Sylvie not to kill him. And that's where the elements of it that I kind of did like. And
but again, he gets tricked, right?
Yeah.
How many times does Loki get tricked in this?
Yeah.
Like,
and I know
you can say a lot of things. You can say a lot of things about Loki in the MCU. Loki, he doesn't get tricked. He's the one doing the tricking. Now, of course,
he's literally the god of trickery and fire.
Exactly.
In mythology.
Yeah. Now he is getting tricked by another Loki in this case, but he kind of gets fucked with a lot in this show.
You would think a trickster would have his guard up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Well, a person who knows that, it's like he's saying, I'm a liar and I know he's not lying. Well, you're a trickster as well, and you keep being tricked by every fucking one and every fucking thing, every step of the way.
It's basically like having the Human Torch getting burned over and over again. It is, though, because it's basically trickery is Loki's power. His intelligence, and they're castrating his, what makes him Loki.
Well, I think you could balance it out and say, you don't have to say, he can never be fooled. But, to be, that's quite a far cry from he's never, not fooled.
Yep.
They could have wrote in where he saw through one of the ruses at least, or, a couple of them.
Well, this was it,
countered
right?
them
This
in some way.
This was the one.
Right.
He saw through, he was able to identify that he wasn't lying.
Yeah.
He was able to do that, but then he lost a fight to himself because he wanted to fuck himself.
and then she rejects him and he gets all sad. How do you feel about
imagine if wouldn't have been a little more rewarding? You could have the entire series play out the same way. Wouldn't it be a little more rewarding maybe if Loki at the end fucking kills Sylvie?
Oh man, I so wanted that to happen.
That would have been a pretty badass moment,
right? Well, he tricked her. Exactly.
He tricks her and he fucking kills her. And maybe he teams up with this guy and he still can be in this. So then our Loki could still be in this kind of antagonist, but at the same time, he kind of thinks he's doing the right thing. Maybe he's misguided, but he's doing the right thing-ish. Mm-hmm. So that could be interesting to me. And you could have him make this decision to sacrifice this better version of himself. Or however you want to make it, and whatever kind of hoops you want to jump through. But I think that that would be something interesting.
Well, it's funny. Yes, there would be no multiverse, and that means that we would have no Doctor Strange multiverse of madness, and they'd have to go in a different direction.
But that's you could still easily have a multiverse. It's just that's the way they decided to do this and demonstrate. But I'm saying if they had decided to not do that and instead do something else, they could easily find a different way to introduce the multiverse.
Yeah, this is not the one and only way you could possibly introduce it.
You could have done it. You could have just fucking done it in WandaVision, like everybody thought they were going to.
But aren't we supposed to believe that in Endgame, essentially they're traveling to other multiverses, not to their own timeline, or is that how we're supposed to perceive that now? I don't know.
No, that's in their timeline. It's in their multiverse. It's in their universe.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's just they are going back in time in their universe. But it was destined to happen. So
the thing that I look at with the multiverse is you could have used the device or whatever from.
I just realized something. So they said that this is a fucking issue when you start doing this time travel bullshit. Mm-hmm. They tell us in the beginning, Loki says, well, you have all these Avengers going back in time to do all this stuff, right? They say, yeah, but that was meant to happen.
Yep.
But Loki was not meant to get the Tesseract. He is a variant. That wasn't supposed to happen.
Yep.
So therefore, Tony and Cap were never meant to go back before in that time period. So they were not meant to do that. So where was the TVA there? Why did that happen? Why was that allowed to happen? Why was that allowed to go forward? Why was that not an point? And that's why this completely fucks Marvel's canon. Completely.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the point. I think that's the point. Unfortunately, I'm not a big fan of the multiverse thing because basically the idea is that you can now you can literally just do or say and rewrite anything, and now you just have this built-in excuse.
These are all the time.
Like, oh, that was meant to be, or this wasn't meant to be, or oh, it was in this universe, and it just. I think in the long run, it's going to turn people away because then it's just like death is already completely meaningless in this universe now.
Well, yeah.
Now it's going to get it's just going to get worse because they can.
They could have opened up the multiverse using that device thing that Ant-Man, ends up trapped inside of before Endgame or something like that. They could have done it a different way, and I don't know. I don't dive too much into this. Again, when it comes to the Marvel stuff, and it's X-Men for me more so than the Avengers or TVA or Timekeepers or anything like that. I was never a big Kang person either. I've just now read up on what he was and who he was and all of that sort of thing. But there were elements to this that I liked. I thought it was a better series than WandaVision. I'll give it that.
Low bar,
but very low bar. But see, this is where also too, it's so easy for them to now just create the MCU because there's a universe where fucking men don't exist. How about that? It's everyone's a woman.
That was
you could just slowly one by one keep replacing the characters, and I think that's their intent because they figure they're going to have to anyway. And that was going to be a reality with the superhero world in the first place. Because not only do you have the monetary issue of bringing back these actors, you have the age issue as well. 10 years from now, is Chris Hemsworth going to be a believable Thor? Probably not.
That's why we need Jane.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, so there's already kind of a built-in monetary reason to bring in other characters, and then this is just an opportunity to do your all-female thing at the same time.
Well, all they need to do now is make Iron Man a bad guy. He joins forces with what's his name? No, we were talking about this last night.
Ironmonger or whatever.
Ironmonger. He joins forces with Ironmonger, sells more arms instead of less arms to terrorists, and becomes a terrorist himself. And that's a good way to make the white do.
That's actually what they're going to do in the What If series. Killmonger rescues Tony Stark for his weapons and takes over the world. So,
yeah. How do you feel about how the series, this final scene where they're like, "Who the fuck are you?" sort of thing? Obviously, the multiverse is completely open. He's been sent back to a TVA, not from his timeline now, and these people have no idea who he is.
Yeah, that's the thing that I'm not super clear on the end of it. Did he get sent back to a different timeline?
Seems that way.
Here's the thing, though.
Where on the timeline are they?
That's the thing. The TVA is kind of outside of the timeline, right? It's kind of protected. So, I don't quite understand
where we are,
where it is, and why this happened, and why he got sent back before she killed him.
Yeah, right? but it was already shooting off. It was already starting to break because he'd lost control over it.
Well, he didn't know what was going to happen. Correct?
No, that's right.
So, yeah.
It is confusing, though.
I don't quite understand what they meant for the audience to interpret from this, other than obviously there's a statue of fucking Kang the Conqueror, not just Kang. Not just we'll just call him We Was Kang. So I'm just gonna call him We Was Kang from now on. But yeah, so then you have this at the end. So he's the one in charge of the TVA. So it's I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting because also too the timekeepers were or are real characters, and he's taken over and killed them all, and he is the one who remains. I find it funny, like if you haven't seen it, go back and just watch my Marvel Encyclopedia video on the timekeepers, and it just tells it's a very short video, but it just gives a description from the Marvel Encyclopedia on what the timekeepers are, and it just turns out that I thought. When they mentioned the He Who Remains, I thought it was one of the timekeepers that remains that then creates the TVA. But then they've created Kang to be the one he's
the Kang who remains. That's how I kind of interpreted He Who Remains. That's what it's kind of the way I thought about it anyway.
Yeah.
One of the things that I guess I just don't understand is like why they don't just take comic stories and directly like
adapt them,
directly adapt them.
Yeah,
you know,
I agree
because I feel like that's what most hardcore fans want to see, and I feel like normies won't fucking know that this is a story already. You know what I mean? Like because they haven't.
When
I don't get it. I don't get it.
Well, you know
that's what I don't understand about the Star
because they want to skip like an entire generation.
But that's what I don't understand about the Star Wars stuff and putting the EU in the bin. Man, there's so many normies out there.
Oh, the EU is coming back, by the way. I meant to ask Ryan about that later. Is he excited about the EU coming back? And a huge secret project. So we can talk about that later.
Yeah, well, I would say that
only a YouTuber knows about it.
Yeah, I would say that those reports are coming from people that clearly don't know anything about the expanded universe in any way, shape, or form. They've only heard about it and use it for clicks. Those reports are clearly coming from people that have no understanding, because the old reports were that, you know, the sequel trilogy was becoming Legends, which, of course, that makes legitimately, literally no fucking sense. Just because something's not canon doesn't mean they would label it Legends, as we've seen from all the Star Wars Vision stuff. That's not labeled Legends now, is it?
Nope.
And obviously, the sequel trilogy does not fit into the Legends timeline in any way. So people that speak about these things, you would think they would need to do more research to come up with believable rumors, but that's clearly not the case.
They're going to give us Mara Jade. We're going to get Mara Jade.
Well,
and the other thing is you can't make the EU return as canon and keep the Clone Wars, Rebels, and Mandalorian.
Correct. Nope. But they should decanonize.
Well, when you use Rebels pictures of Thrawn and you call it the unexplored regions and shit like that, you have no fucking idea what you're talking about.
But even the High Republic, you can't even.
That's the thing. Like these. The people that are telling you there's an a secret EU project.
Yeah.
The Mandalorian does not fit into the expanded universe.
No.
Okay?
At all.
Dave Filoni has been the expanded universe's worst enemy since 2008. All right? Like, that's just the fucking truth. You might not want to believe me, but it is. I've been paying attention to it for a long time before I was making YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Before I'm not just someone who pretends that I know something about the expanded universe or Legends and make up rumors based on those. No, I fucking do care about it. I've been paying attention to Dave Filoni, what he's done to lore for a long time. He's used stories from the expanded universe and bastardized them.
Yep.
But come the fuck on, man.
Yep. Sorry, I missed this. Mega Jetty, thank you for the $2. He says, screw pronouns. We're not gonna take it anymore. Nice.
Yeah, the people that are like, oh, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are going to use the Ahsoka series to, retcon the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, right.
If that happens, right? I would have a lot of questions like, why are there so many references to the sequels in the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian? But if that happens, it's not to then continue the expanded universe stories and put that back in place, because literally nothing since 2012 fits into that. Or 2014, I guess, technically. Nothing from 2014 fits into the EU.
Yep.
So
not just character-wise, the entire state of the galaxy.
Yes,
doesn't
exactly. It doesn't fit. So those things are being said by people that are ignorant, that do not understand the expanded universe, and that's fine. It's a big fucking thing. You don't have to pretend like you know what you're talking about. It's a massive thing. Not everybody reads.
But Ryan, it doesn't just seem like they don't understand the expanded universe. That there's certain laws and things like that they're just either willing to ignore that they're breaking, or they are naive to it. They just don't know.
Well, it's we're talking about people that doesn't even notice the in-your-face stuff in The Mandalorian that doesn't even work with the movies. There's being a casual audience, that's fine, but holy shit, though! I mean, you have to be double retarded sometimes to say what the stuff I see on Twitter. I mean, Favreau literally said he's going to tie everything into the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
He said it a year ago. He's not going to retcon anything.
We've been told that they're bringing it all, like it's all going to be one nice cohesive story. I don't know about nice and cohesive, but it's going to be one story. There's so much confirmation out there. I don't understand. I mean, is anyone excited for Kenobi and seeing these two characters cross blades again? Like, are we really excited for that? Are you really excited for that, Chad? I'm curious. Who's excited to see Obi-Wan and Vader cross swords again before the events of A New Hope? So in between.
I know exactly who's excited for it. The same people that said boycott Disney and I stand with Gina Carano.
The same people
for the Kenobi show.
Hey, dude, I stand with Gina Carano. I will say there's problems with her character in The Mandalorian, but what happened to her is completely fucking
but you didn't tell people to boycott Disney because of what they did to Carano.
I'm not even boycotting Disney.
Yeah, exactly.
How can I sit there and say boycott Disney? I'm not even fucking boycotting. I'm watching it.
I'm
not enjoying it, but I'm fucking watching it.
Here's how you can understand it, Rhino. Like you said, you don't understand it. It's because they, as we keep referring to them, they are going to keep doing it as long as there's thousands of morons that believe it. Yeah, and I'll just come out and say it. I don't give a shit. Well, why wouldn't you hate the player? Don't hate the player. Hate the game.
Yeah, and I think that also we do have to look at this from like a realist perspective. The Mandalorian, according to all the numbers, like these Marvel shows haven't come close to the Mandalorian's numbers, right? According to what they've been telling us and what they've been saying. So I think you have to say the Mandalorian has been a big success for them. And so one, it seems like they're doing okay when you look at their results, even if a lot of us don't feel like it's what they should be, or maybe they could be doing more, maybe they could get more audience. Of course they could. Two, I think that I think what they're doing, telling this story that is likely going to be contained in this little area that could have happened, that could realistically fit into what's already established, make a couple little hints to the sequel trilogy. You know what I mean? Make a couple connections, put a planet in there to show that it's a connected universe, but you don't have to delve too deep into what'll happen. You go into the unknown regions, you do this thing with Thrawn. It can't be big, right? It can't be galactic wide event because it was peace. They cleaned everything up after 2 years with the Empire. So it was just these little fucking things here and there. So it is going to have to be something that although, you know, Thrawn is maybe amassing a force, it's not going to be something that has to be destroyed by a New Republic government, or else we would have heard about that in some way, shape, or form. Instead, what they're doing is they're making it a self-contained story, these interconnected things that are happening on the, you know, edges of the known galaxy. You know, there's smart to do it that way. It's smart for them to do it from a Disney canon standpoint. Well,
it's just funny.
I think the way Dave Filoni likes to tell stories is that he is about telling the story he wants to tell first, and then worrying about continuity later or never. And to be honest, maybe he learned that from George. It's not like George was ever worried about changing something within his own story. He did it all the time.
I think he's taking something out of JJ's book. His mystery boxing it and cameo appearancing everything. Like the Bad Batch is the exact same story, and I've mentioned it a million times, as The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian was literally a babysitter in space. You scratch my back, I scratch yours because I need help with something, but they need help with something first. So I'm going to help you out so you can help me out. Now, there's nothing so much wrong with that if it was, let's say, one episode in the entire fucking series that happens. But every fucking episode, it seems that that's the case, and that's what's happening. And you've got, of course, your cameo appearances. You're Ahsoka, you're Bo-Katan, you're, you know, all these different characters. And then you come to the Bad Batch, and you've got Kanan Jarrus. You've got Hera. The entire last episode of the Bad Batch, you literally saw the Bad Batch for a minute of screen time. A minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes at most. Oh, and of course, then if you didn't see fucking if you didn't see fucking Dave Filoni's got his own fucking action figure. Yeah. Black Series. What the fuck? Talk about. Oh, anyway.
Well, Dave Filoni doesn't care about Star Wars. Dave Filoni cares about Dave Filoni.
Yeah,
the pedestal and he's to promote himself.
He's very smart in one regard, and that is he, every time he takes on a project, he makes sure to interweave it with his other previous projects as a way to protect them.
Yeah.
So by interlacing all these things, you can't just easily poof one away without impacting the rest. So if you can manage to tie any of your other stuff into The Mandalorian, you're then protecting Rebels, or you're protecting Bad Batch, or you're protecting the future Ahsoka show. And that's why, like, this idea of, like, decanonizing bits and pieces, like, that's already impossible, because it's already interwoven. And it's interwoven with The Mandalorian. And The Mandalorian is not a small story out in the outskirts. They've already connected it to the Yoda species. They've connected it to a re-emerging future First Order, and they've connected it to Luke Skywalker. Like, it's already interlaced and interwoven. Thrawn, it's already woven in.
Yep.
So you can't just go, poof, the sequel trilogies are gone and everything's better. It's like, well, okay, but what about, and then that's not even touching the comics and the books that Disney has put out since taking over. Like, is Aftermath a thing? But then the sequel trilogy isn't.
Yeah.
Because events of Aftermath.
They've changed parts of Aftermath with Mandalorian as well.
But and kept other things, but like
Cobb Vanth.
Like, I'm sure, like, in season 3 we're gonna end up on fucking Jakku.
Maybe.
Because they love their desert plants, because this show gets a lot of credit for aesthetics, and everything is Mos Eisley. It's Port City Mos Eisley. Mos Eisley. Volcano Ashworld Mos Eisley. Like, there's no big cities anywhere. Like, we have yet to see an urban developed area. It's all these small little towns.
Yep.
Well, that's the other point that I make.
Navarro is
really small.
Is volcano Tatooine.
I want to see them go to Coruscant.
Yeah,
that'd
go
be
to
nice.
at least one big city.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I want to see him
nice.
go to. I want to see him go to Coruscant in this. I'd like to see that.
But speaking of, go on, Ryan. What were you going to say?
No, go. You good?
I was just going to say, speaking of the Mandalorian, Greg found something quite interesting. Can you bring the awards up for what the
good
Mandalorian's been nominated for?
Yeah.
All these fucking Disney Plus shows have like 1 million nominations.
But you wait until you see what the
God, it's so
Mandalorian
bought and
got.
paid for.
Yeah. What was I going to say? I can't remember now. Anyway, if we can get
like when it comes to Dave Filoni and like how he works with continuity, I said that maybe he got that from George, and George Lucas is terrible when it comes to continuity because he was always tinkering, right? He's always, think of the special editions. Think of how many times he's changed the Han Solo scene. McClunky, right?
Yeah, but it's not story or though that he's changing.
Well, sometimes you're right to an extent, but sometimes there's changes that are effective, like the Empire Strikes Back special edition. The Empire Strikes Back special edition after Luke jumps down to get away from him. It's like kind of this somber moment as he's like realizing what just happened, and he kind of says, he comes, prepare my shuttle for departure, right? Like, all right, well, I guess I'm going back now. But in the special edition, it's a scene of him marching with stormtroopers and one of the admirals or something. And he's like, ensure my ship is prepared, or my Star Destroyer is prepared for my arrival. And it's like, well, I mean,
what? Yeah.
Why? First of all, don't you think all those people would have their assholes fucking puckered all the time? But it takes away a little bit of that reaction, a little bit of that like sense of him kind of reeling from the fact that somebody who he just told it was his son and he could have given him everything decided he'd rather just fucking die. So like there are changes that I think that diminish some things that happened in the original releases that I do think are bad changes. But the difference is that's the creator, that's George Lucas making that determination. That's not an outside person changing his story, which is what happens when you have Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau doing these things. That's what happens when you have the sequel trilogy, all that stuff.
And it doesn't massively destroy, like, yeah, okay, it might change a little bit of how you perceive some motivation or something within a character, but it's not character destroying or lore destroying or anything like that. It's not like as bad as, let's say, hyperspace making jumps from atmosphere, or anything like that.
Yeah, that
actually destroys episode 1.
There was a couple of special edition things that I thought were quite relevant, especially like the battle on Hoth. I remember from inside the cockpit of one of the snow speeders, you could actually see through the pillar. You could see the walker actually through it. It was like transparent almost, and you could see it. And they changed things like that. That's fine. The things that I actually didn't like from Empire with the special editions, one of my least favorite changes was actually the Wampa. How much more of the Wampa you see. I felt like the Wampa being a little bit more hidden made it a lot more sort of creepy in that moment, especially when you see it walking towards Luke. And
it was more artistically done, for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, let's have a look at this. This is the awards for Mandalorian. Well, for Disney, basically. It's the Disney award show. They're just going to give themselves a whole heap of pats on the back. So what'd you find here, Greg?
Greg stepped away, but he did note some very interesting patterns in all of these numbers. And it at least makes you question, how did these shows wind up with so many nominations?
No, McClunky was George. It was.
Yeah,
George.
they just didn't add it until later.
George wanted to put that in, and it definitely was. That was confirmed.
McClunky.
Yeah, if I ever get shot, I'm going to say that.
Well, that's actually saying
I'll be the end of you.
Yeah,
I'll be
like,
the end of
I'm
you,
gonna
yeah.
kill you. That's what McClunky means in some way.
But I will say the change in that scene actually does that. That's probably the one that does the most damage to a character, because it takes away from Han Solo being who Han Solo was at that time. Now,
it makes his arc lesser.
Yeah, correct.
You know that he was already this kind of a guy. He wasn't this kind of a guy.
But I don't have a problem with him doing that in Return of the Jedi, because he was going to get killed, you know? It's
but this is the thing. He probably wouldn't have, if he was in Return of the Jedi and he'd gone through all of that stuff, and then you put him back in that scene with Greedo, he probably wouldn't have maybe reacted the same way. His motivations or his development of his character moving forward might have been a little bit different. But in that moment, when he hasn't gone through all of that development, he hasn't met Leia, he hasn't done any of that stuff, I feel like it does. Like the whole who shot first thing. And then you add in the McClunky thing. And that is the one change that I feel probably did the most damage out of all the changes that George put into any of his special editions or any of the changes that he did make.
Vader yelling no at the end of Return of the Jedi.
Look, that's cringe. That's stupid. But I still don't think that necessarily does as much damage to the character of Anakin or Vader as
it does damage to Palpatine, because he's basically hearing Vader yelling no behind him. So he shouldn't be taken by surprise.
Well, he wasn't. I mean, he was ready. Remember.
But see, you got to remember, that wasn't a change. That was just at the end of Revenge of the Sith. That was just a part of the movie. The bit where that they changed the no was
I mean at Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
Yeah.
When I
he
think that's
saying no, and then he grabs Palpatine.
I agree. I agree with that. I don't like that either.
Yeah, Palpatine would have just heard it and turned around, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be honest, and I do not watch any version of the special editions. I still have the 2006 DVDs. They don't look great, but it's like listening to a remix of a song and something just doesn't sound right. You know, I grew up on the original unaltered versions, and that's what I like to watch. I just don't like the special editions, even though they may be prettier, you know, just with the remaster and all that shit.
There's some interesting parts of it, you know, the scope, you know, they're able to properly display the scope, like in Cloud City. They add so much more detail and things like that. And obviously in Mos Eisley, all the different sequences and the feel of how big the city is and things, you know.
Yeah.
I was really excited in '96 when all the magazines had the photos and stuff. But when I got in there, I was in line the first day. I don't know. I just wasn't impressed.
All right, let's go into this. Let's have a look at what The Mandalorian's been nominated for at the Emmys, is it, Greg?
Yeah, the Primetime Emmy Awards for 2021. And when I saw the headline that there was nominated for 24 things, I'm like, are there even 24 fucking categories?
Yeah.
So, I looked it up and I started going through, like, you know, because the headline is just like, oh, wow, this is so great. It got nominated 24 times. I'm like, well, okay, what for? And then I started digging into it. And just looking at, like, the full list of what's nominated, you'll see a couple things. Like, one, clearly, like, the streaming services, particularly Disney, has paid some money. Because you got to think,
streaming, dude, it's all streaming. The only thing that's not streaming on the drama series is Pose and This Is Us.
Yeah,
right. So 6 of 8 are streaming.
Yeah, and ABC even, which is a Disney property, is not even represented. It's just The Mandalorian, WandaVision, and Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Mandalorian, like only the Disney Plus things, because the way these things work is the studios submit for consideration what they have. It's not like the Emmys just pick out of everything that's been produced. The studios are involved with it. And, you know, the Emmys is something that rotates between the networks, right? Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because this is the Primetime Emmy Awards, and I'm just going to stay right out. I don't think streaming services that air their shit at 2:00 in the morning should count for the Primetime Emmys.
Yeah.
That's a good
Excellent
point.
point.
Actually, there should be no primetime streaming services.
Yeah,
You can watch it anytime you want.
that's right.
Well, right, but they always drop their episodes, and there's a reason why they drop their episodes in the middle of the night, is because these streaming services are all owned by the same people that own the broadcast channels, and they don't want people watching The Mandalorian at 7 p.m. on a Friday. They want people watching ABC at 7 p.m. on a Friday. So they're deliberately colluding to between the streaming services and these networks to not air and not air competition.
Mm-hmm.
So they're colluding to prevent competition for views. So like honestly, one thing that I would like to see is I don't think any of the broadcast networks should have their licenses removed. I think all terrestrial TV should be canceled and the frequencies auctioned off to be used for other things like cell phone technology and radios and shit.
Yeah.
Because
so what's that first category? It's best drama.
The first category is drama series, and like you'll see some things like The Crown got nominated for like a shit ton. Lovecraft Country, Handmaid's. You're going to see in the Emmy nominations. It's not just The Mandalorian. The Emmys this is the best of 5 things that they like.
Yeah.
And what's really weird, and they do this with the Oscars and stuff too, is like they only pick the best performances from pictures that are what they consider their best pictures, right? You can't possibly have a good acting performance in a bad movie or a bad TV show, the way these people think. So you're going to see, as you go through this list, these same titles always. So drama series, The Mandalorian gets nominated. And that's a prestigious one, okay, best drama series. You'll see, like, in the comedy series, it's not nominated, but they consider Cobra Kai a comedy. So that's interesting. I don't know if I would quite classify it.
That's
the way it was originally marketed, too.
It is a comedy. I think you have to classify it. I don't know if you can put it in a drama.
Is
there an action?
Is The Mandalorian dramatic?
Yeah, it's not fucking funny.
That's true.
Yeah,
I guess. But you see, you got HBO Max is in there for the comedy series, limited series. So you got WandaVision there, because like they said, it's a limited series.
Because it was an adapted movie.
Well, because there's not going to be a season 2, right?
Yeah,
right. So basically, it's just them saying ahead of time, this is a one-off. So then it's considered a limited series. That's fair. Here we go. And lead actor, we got This Is Us, Lovecraft, The Crown. We're going to see those a lot. No Pedro Pascal here.
Yeah, no Pedro.
Poor dude.
No Pedro. No Anthony Mackie here. Lead actress. Oh, there we go.
There's 2.
The Crown, Handmaid's Tale, Lovecraft Country again.
There's one category that you made a really good point on, which I hope's coming up soon in regards to length of time.
Yep. Lead actress. I haven't watched any of these. Ted Lasso comes up a lot.
Okay. What about lead actors in the limited series?
There you go.
Okay, so you get
Paul Bettany.
For the limited, it's going to be the actor and the actress from the 5 shows that were nominated.
Right, and I get that, but how many? What I'd be curious is how many nominations or requests for nominations did these categories even get? Because I kind of feel like we got 5 things, and there was maybe 8 of them that were done total. But then here you go, lead actor. You have 2 lead actors in a limited series. How do you have 2 leads? Is it one guy, one person's the lead, but Hamilton got 2.
That is a big
actress. Elizabeth Olsen.
Funny though, I think The Mandalorian is nominated for best costumes too, even though they bought the costumes at JCPenney.
Yeah, we'll get to that. And then you have variety talk shows. So basically, every show that's a variety talk show gets nominated because this is pretty much all there is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Conan, Trevor Noah, Jimmy Kimmel, John Oliver, Stephen Colbert. Who are we missing?
Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, Jimmy Fallon. He got snubbed. There's like 8 people that could qualify for a category. They nominate 5, and he gets snubbed. Like, how shitty do you feel after that competition program? Who gives a shit?
Here we go.
Supporting actor in a drama series. Supporting actor. I don't even know how to. Giancarlo Esposito.
Mm-hmm.
How many episodes was he in?
Is this just for season 2? Or is this for the entire show?
It's for season 2. Because it only qualifies because it's based on year.
3, maybe 4. Maybe there's like a brief
4 if you count like him like monologuing, mustache twirling at the end of an episode.
But
right.
if
he's a supporting actor.
If you put the time into, like, if you just put the amount of time that you see him on screen, it probably adds up to like 1 episode.
Maybe. And here's the thing, like, even if you like The Mandalorian, what about his performance would you say that like is best supporting actor in a drama series? Because remember, this is everything that came out on TV and streaming, basically, that's not a movie that has come out since June of last year.
I mean, I haven't watched any. I don't watch anything on TV anymore, so it's tough to judge. But yeah, like I feel like he gets this nod because of what he's done before. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's like named.
Yeah, this is a legacy nomination. It's kind of like how What's Her Name gets nominated like every year for an Oscar.
It is interesting that OT. I don't know how to say that. I'm just going to say Fag Benny. I don't know how to say that name. I don't know how to say that, but that's the guy who everyone thought Taskmaster was.
I'm going to talk about that show all the time in my next stream, just so I can say that.
Just so you can say it.
So here we go. Handmaid's Tale had 3 supporting actors nominated in this category.
Well,
nice.
Did you get to the part yet about the length of the
No, he hasn't.
shows?
No, not yet.
No, we're getting
a great
there.
part. Yeah.
Supporting actress. Here's more. The Crown, Handmaid's Tale, Lovecraft, The Crown, Handmaid's Tale. Like, Jesus Christ. There's no other supporting actress in anything on TV other than people that were in these 3 shows.
There's 4 from A Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah.
Right. And see, this counts in the headline when it says, like, Handmaid's Tale got nominated
24 Emmys.
For 24 awards. Well, it can't possibly win 24 awards because only one of these 4 are going to get this one.
Yeah.
Even if one of them gets it. So that means they get 1, lose 3. So you have to be mindful of that because we're going to come up to that in The Mandalorian.
So let's say Handmaid's Tale wins no awards, but they went up for like 20 something odd nominations. How bad's that going to look too, though? Like, just
whatever. No one gives a fuck about this shit.
They're going to say they all win, and they'll go up there, holding hands like this, and
right.
We all get a participation award. Everybody wins. Everybody who gets nominated.
Ted Lasso and Saturday Night Live.
Right. Yeah. Do you think the Emmys like the show Ted Lasso at all? Like,
isn't that the one about the? That's the one about the football coach, right?
I have no fucking idea.
I know.
Yeah.
They like Hamilton here. The Hamilton nominated 3 times in supporting acting.
Yeah, they love Hamilton for a lot of reasons.
Yeah. All right, guest actor. So now, keep in mind that Gideon was a supporting actor. Carl Weathers is just a guest actor,
but he was in more episodes
with more lines and screen time.
Yeah, and he made even less sense.
That's so
and
dumb.
While I like Carl Weathers, is this really what was his acting particularly noteworthy?
Not really.
I don't think so.
I'd actually say that Carl Weathers' performance wasn't the best.
It was a little wooden. It was a little wooden.
It was just like very generic. It was just like
it's serviceable. It wasn't awful.
He was just
but like best actor.
He was just like alpha male bully, man. He's like, hey, get over here. Yo, what are you? Come on, hurry up. We're waiting here. What are you? Hurry
But
up.
it's a completely different character in the second season from the first one. He's this, kind of scary.
But you got to
criminal
remember,
underground guy in the second season. I'm a benevolent dictator of this town, and I
becomes
have
Lando.
schools.
He becomes Lando.
You got to remember when he gets force healed, it heals the dark side from his mind. So of course it changes him. Of course he's changed from season
Rhino's
1
not
to
laughing
season
because
2.
that's a serious
I'm dead
theory
serious.
put out there by those weirdos. Yeah.
Well,
it is.
Ray force healed Kylo, which force healed his mind from the dark side.
Cleared his mind.
So why when Baby Yoda does it to, or Grogu does it to Carl Weathers, would it not do the same thing?
Yeah.
Of course,
Maybe that's why he eventually changed.
It's
his
now.
actual development actually makes sense if you look at it from the standpoint of Disney's stupid fucking continuity.
We haven't been given Filoni enough credit.
Yep.
But here I want to pay attention. Like, this is one where they're nominated, and two guys are nominated for the same thing. So obviously both of them can't win. I don't think either of them should. Either of them should win at all.
Guest actor is a good category. The Mandalorian should have about 10 of those.
Yep.
Right, but like Timothy Oliphant's character in the one episode,
I feel like he did steal the stage charisma wise from Pedro Pascal, but I do think that Bill Burr, if you're gonna have one of these, I think Bill Burr is the guy who probably should get it.
Right, I would say Bill Burr did a much better job acting wise than either of these. Like, I don't think any of the acting in The Mandalorian is standout at all. I think it's at best serviceable.
But I think that Bill Burr's, I feel like Bill Burr's episode people that stood out to people, the way that he
certainly more than
kitchen scene.
He's not going to get. He's not going to get nominated though, because he was semi-canceled.
Yeah.
Right. Guest actor in a comedy
Weathers.
series. Saturday Night Live, Saturday Night Live, Saturday Night Live, Saturday Night Live. That's nice.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Well, because how many variety series are there? Guest actress in a comedy series, kind of same shit. Variety sketch series. There's like 2 like, why have a category when like there's only 2 people that are like,
there's a runner-up and a winner. That's it.
Like, this is going to be a really dramatic moment. You got a 50-50 chance.
It's going to be funny when a black lady sketch show wins.
Get to the good part. There it is.
Yeah, let's get past all of this. Here we go.
Outstanding production design for a narrative contemporary program, 1 hour or more. So for the Emmys, to preface where we're going to get to it coming up, I think. Yep, here we go.
Yeah.
And so they have 2 categories for these, for half-an-hour programs and 1 hour programs. But guess what? The Mandalorian qualifies for both.
Yeah.
Is chapter 13 longer than an hour?
It's an hour in TV. It's 43. I looked. The runtime's 43 minutes. And I think that's an average runtime if you consider an aired TV program with commercials.
Okay.
But then if you factor in the retardedly long credits and opening sequence and the previously on the Mandalorian part, I don't think it should qualify. I think that either your show is an hour-long show or a half an hour-long show. For the purposes of an award show, you should have to declare you're either one or the other. You can't just like have one short episode, so then you conveniently qualify for both. I think that's gaming this. That's
but the same. Didn't they do the same thing with WandaVision? Aren't there some absurdly short episodes and some that are normal length?
They probably. This is for a narrative program or fantasy program, hour or more. But again, no episodes of The Mandalorian are an hour. But
you know because it is The Mandalorian and because they had the Luke Skywalker scene and all this kind of stuff. There's a couple of episodes that got nominated, correct, for certain things that we might get into.
Well, yeah. So this chapter 13, The Jedi, was nominated for outstanding production design for a narrative. What part of the production in that episode was great?
The Ahsoka episode gets
a bunch
nominated.
of a field full of burnt trees.
Yeah,
and Filoni wrote that episode.
And that stupid town,
and another small dirty city.
Yeah,
another small dirty castle city. Like, okay, like I don't know how that qualifies as great production design, but okay.
That's the episode where they destroyed the HK droids, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Tournament incompetent Roger droids.
Outstanding casting for a drama series. So the person who's the casting director got a nomination there for that, I guess.
I wonder if Kathleen
I
Kennedy
think
will
she
get
should
it.
be canceled because did she not cancel or cast Gina Carano? Like, I think she should be not eligible. Because it's like her name's not going to be in this list.
Right.
Where are we going here? Okay.
did submit it,
Outstanding cinematography for a single camera. Seriously, half hour. So chapter 15 was apparently short enough to qualify for the half an hour category.
That's the Jedi one, right? No, that's the final.
No,
episode.
this is the Believer. No, the final episode's 16.
That's the
So
Bill
this is
Burr
like right
episode.
before.
That's the Bill Burr episode.
That is, yeah.
Oh,
Well,
look, it's nominated for the hour-long for Chapter 13.
Yeah, the Jedi.
Outstanding cinematography. And again, like, I don't know, nothing in that episode stood out to me as like, wow, the cinematography is awesome. Like, I didn't see as like anything that was wow. I guess maybe the Ahsoka and the Mist scene, maybe.
Oh, it was the cinematography from when they were sitting there, like, communicating mentally. And there was no dialogue
talking on log.
Yeah. I'm surprised they didn't give, the Tuscan Bob episode a good rap.
Outstanding fantasy sci-fi costumes: The Mandalorian, Chapter 13, The Jedi.
No, it's
What?
J.C. Penney's that should be nominated.
So
This is the Ahsoka episode.
Costume, and Ahsoka's lacquer with the little wrinkles in the plastic that you made them out of is good.
Oh, there's
costume
a
design,
category
isn't it?
specifically for that they get nominated for this episode. So this
yeah.
is different. This is general costumes, and like again, I don't know.
Telling you now, if Filoni could suck his own dick, he
No,
would.
like I can see WandaVision.
It would have to be longer than an inch. So I don't know.
Like I can see WandaVision getting a nod for like the costuming and the period episodes, like where back in the '60s and things like that. I could like that seems like it'd be a little bit of effort. Chapter 13 didn't seem like a whole lot of effort to me.
I'm surprised.
Just think of the characters in Chapter 13. You have Yoda, the Mandalorian, Ahsoka. You have like
the
generic Old West guy.
And then you have generic Old West guy. You have the chick that fights at the end.
The chick with the stick.
Like maskless brown bag, or not. Sometimes some of them have masks on, some of them don't, but they're all just like brown bags.
Well, I'm surprised that the episode with the boob armor didn't get best costume nominated for best costume. I mean, the Bo-Katan episode with the boob armor should be in there. You would think. Oh no!
At least that had a big variety of people. At least that had.
Well, I mean, that did have the JCPenney alien.
It did have the JCPenney alien, but at least it had like for costuming. I guess maybe they consider it
a little bit more variety, maybe.
But they have more variety, and you have the Imperials, you have Imperial officers, you have different Mandalorians. You have a bar scene. You have
even though I don't like it,
bitch.
That episode was probably better written than the Ahsoka episode.
Well, hold on.
No costume in that episode stands out to me as like any different than a costuming in a sitcom show.
Actually, I take that back. The bit where he fucking at the end, where he's just getting hit by all the blaster bolts, and he throws the two like grenade things. Anyway,
we're talking about the one with Titus Welliver, right?
Yeah, the one
and the Mandalorians that join him on the attack on that Imperial cargo ship.
Yeah. That's right.
No, that's not well written because why didn't they just go to hyperspace from atmosphere?
Yeah.
Why didn't they? So
yeah.
All right. Outstanding directing for a drama series, Mandalorian Chapter 9. This is with Sandjaws. Sandjaws for Favreau. Because it's Favreau.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Sandjaws. So that's episode 1 of season 2, isn't it?
Yep.
It's the Sandjaws episode.
Yeah.
That episode pissed me off too. It's so stupid.
Tuscan Bob gets a nod.
Yeah.
Now here we go. Outstanding single camera picture editing for a drama series. 4 nominations.
What the?
Half the episodes of the entire season got nominated.
The Jedi will get it. No, The Handmaid's Tale will get it.
Handmaid's Tale, The Crown will get it. Like I don't think any of these, honestly. Like if you look at what they're up against and what the narrative of those other shows are, there's no way that the Mandalorian wins in most of these categories.
Yeah.
They'll get like some technical award and maybe the
is
costume
one of
award.
those episodes the Luke Skywalker episode?
Yeah, the
rescue.
Oh, it's not the Jedi, the rescue.
And that's
yeah.
what
the
the shot
rescue.
will be. No, I that'll win. That will win.
It's not going to win
For single
over.
camera picture editing, the editing in that episode's not good.
But it's nominated.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
These
you had a
arguments don't matter.
50-50 chance of getting nominated.
None of these arguments matter because, the show's not good in this way, but it's already nominated for an Emmy. So if it's made it that far, it's just as good.
Or in that camera, or in that category.
What they'll do is they'll have that episode win and then have a CGI Luke Skywalker accept the award, and people will go nuts over it.
Right.
That's what they'll do.
He'll show up, the person presenting the awards, pull out his saber, chop his hair off, and just grab the award on while the body's falling.
Well, here's the award here that is the award everybody's waiting to hear. This is like the last one they give away. Outstanding period and or character hairstyling. The Mandalorian, Chapter 16, The Rescue.
What?
Dude,
they're all in helmets. Like, whose hair is even exposed?
It's when what's his
Gideon's?
Bo-Katan and Casca Reeves both show their hair at one point. But
With the sweatbands, yeah.
But this isn't Kathleen Kennedy's Fade In video? She mentioned them specifically, right?
No, she mentions the animators. These ones aren't animators. Yeah.
I thought she mentioned hairstylists.
No, it was hair animation.
Maybe that's true.
Yeah, it was hair animation. This is just a regular hairstylist. So
hair awards now. Yeah, hair awards.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
It's like we're going to an award ceremony for the best hairdressers in the world.
Well, I guess
outstanding prosthetic makeup. There you go. Here's Ahsoka's
There's
award.
the Jedi. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess
but even that's not good. Like I mentioned, like
no, it's not.
And everything that you can see these wrinkles in them. It's like it's made of foam or something.
I wonder if they'll have Ahsoka or Rosario Dawson and her transphobic mother there to accept the award.
Oh, here we go. Star Trek Discovery.
Oh.
For
Good
what?
job. You got an award for
You got a nomination.
costume.
Oh, it's for Saru's penis head. But going back to the hair one, I guess when Pedro took his helmet off, his hair looked the way hair would look like when you took your helmet off after fighting a bunch of Rock'em Sock'em robots.
They're
just
like
greasy.
Giancarlo Esposito had a really good fade here.
Ooh.
All right, we got outstanding music composition. It'd be like dramatic score.
I could make the Mandalorian main theme like on a Casio keyboard, I think.
Well, this is for a
dictionary.
specific episode, and this is the Luke Skywalker episode where they just cut in hints of Luke Skywalker's theme. So that's why I kind of.
You mean hints of his theme from Force Awakens, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but it doesn't connect to the sequel trilogy, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Not at all.
And we're going to do it. We're going to play his music.
Yeah.
We're going to play his music in a nice, slow, emotional way so that you all fucking cry.
Who is it that says watch that scene without the music and you'll be
Me.
like shocked at that was you?
Me.
Yeah. Good point.
Watch that scene without any audio on.
Yeah.
Like, okay, yes, it removes the sound of the lightsabers and all of that sort of thing, but I swear the way that they played his theme, his music, no matter where it's from, is what brought, like, okay, as Star Wars fans, we've all been sitting here, saying that we wish we had have seen the Luke Skywalker, yes, that we wanted to see, or the way that Luke should have been in the sequels. And then all of a sudden they give us a little taste of that. How is that going to make people feel? Of course, people are going to be like, oh my God, but then you put the music over the top of it and it becomes the best scene that they've ever fucking done. Like, it's better than the Empire Strikes Back, the entire movie of Empire Strikes Back. Like, give me a fucking bucket. Seriously.
A CGI and animated Luke was in the new Battlefront 2, so
that was heralded as the best Luke Skywalker ever.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, he's just blowing apart stormtroopers and shit.
Yep.
And then he's just like, it's so regretful I have to resort to violence. And then a second later, he's just like, "Oh, I won't kill you. Let's help each other." And he's like, "Why'd you help me?" "Because you asked." And it's like people are like, "That's the best representation of Skywalker I've ever seen."
Well, that's it's the same writing
how low
though.
the bar is.
It's the same writing as Bill Burr sitting there going, "You killed all of these people. Was it good for them? Was it good for them?" Killing them and then blowing up the base with all these innocent stormtroopers on it.
Yeah, he's like, "Give me the gun."
Yeah.
Boom.
Metalong's out later. Metalong, thanks for coming by as always.
Later, dude.
Legend.
Yeah.
Well,
do you want to move on?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You have outstanding sound editing for a comedy or drama series. I don't know why they combined comedy and drama for this category, but
because they ran out of fucking metal. They ran out of metal to make it.
They ran out of time. So there we go. The Jedi again.
You know what they need to do?
And then we got sound
what they need to do with these
mixing
awards? They need to get
for the same episode, so it gets sound editing and sound mixing.
God. They need to get Kathleen Kennedy to present one of these awards, and then they do what they did in Naked Gun. You know, when they put the explosive in the award envelope.
Oh, careful!
Cancelled.
Then we got, of course, outstanding visual effects: The Boys, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Lovecraft Country, Mandalorian, and WandaVision. I like Disney's odds in that category.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that one's you have to be reasonable, you know. Like,
yeah.
Not all of it's great. Not all of it's great, but they do do a lot of things in that show. The whole show is effectively visual effects, you know.
Yeah.
So
Now this is the biggest joke I've ever seen. Outstanding stunt coordination, The Mandalorian.
Which episode or the whole fucking show?
Fucking kidding me.
Well, you know, when you're
it's some of the worst I've ever seen.
When you're able to dodge blaster bolts just because you're a strong female woman with no force ability, you know, of course the stunts are great.
Oh, when you could do tornado DDTs onto the baddest
and
bounty hunter in the galaxy, yeah.
And you've got Ahsoka just, you know, coming out of nowhere and attacking an unarmed person, Mandalorian, when she's anyway. That's fucking.
And then we
stupid.
got outstanding stunt performance for the
Ahsoka.
Does it give the performer? Who is that?
Lateef Crowder. I have no idea who that person.
That's Luke Skywalker.
Oh,
I don't actually know.
It would be.
If it is, I'd be very like that was not good stunt work. Okay.
Or maybe it was the fight between him, the Mandalorian, and
he serves as Din Djarin's body double and fight stunt person.
Wow. So it's the fight between him and Moff Gideon, I reckon.
And Rock'em Sock'em Robot.
Yeah.
When Din Djarin could have Moff, because he's got the Darksaber at that time, he could have just slid down that Beskar spear and cut off all his fingers and fights over. But you know.
Oh, the Jedi is like that battle in the Jedi is the worst. I think the Moff Gideon fight's probably the second worst. But like that Ahsoka versus the chick with the stick that has no force powers.
Oh, that was
like
so
literally
dumb.
just like fucking force pusher and it's over.
Against the wall. Yep.
Like just grab her and lift her up.
But she disarms one of her lightsabers with a spear, and she doesn't even use the force to bring it back to her. She just lets it go in the water. And
Ahsoka attacks Din Djarin with more ferocity, and he's just a dude walking in the forest.
Yeah,
who she doesn't even know, and she's been friendly with Mandalorians. It's like she knows Mandalorians personally and would not treat them as like automatic enemies.
Mm-hmm. It's a good thing he has Beskar on.
Yeah, because he just like boom, like
it didn't matter to all those Mandalorians during the battle for Mandalore. She sliced right through their armor.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's like
the magnetic
Beskar
armor
is like a fine wine. It gets harder with age, or I don't know.
Well, I think you would have to, I think it would be reasonable to say that not every single fucking Mandalorian in the Clone Wars fights had a full set of Beskar armor. I think that's a reasonable thing to assume. But she wouldn't know that he's wearing Beskar. She was trying to kill him.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly.
She literally, and just a complete stranger to her.
And 5 years ago, she was working with Mandalorians. Sorry.
Right, yeah. There's that whole scene just made no sense. But here we go. It's apparently one of the most outstanding writing for a drama series of the year. The Mandalorian, Chapter 13, The Jedi. Because we have to give Dave, because Dave only wrote one episode out of the entire season. Jon Favreau wrote all the other ones. So we had to nominate 13 because that's the Filoni episode. We got to give him his due, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, if I'm a writer who's wrote anything in the last year, I'm looking at Chapter 13 and 16, and I'm insulted. Google the transcript for those episodes.
Yeah.
There's hardly, there's barely any dialogue in the first place. Like, they're so generic and simple. And the plots are insanely stupid. Like, we just covered, like, Ahsoka just full on tries to murder Din Djarin because, I don't know, she's very territorial about that section of the forest.
Yep. But then also doesn't want to train the baby Yoda because she's afraid that she'll train it the wrong way and he'll become...
No, she's not even afraid of how she trains it. She's afraid of training it at all.
At all. That's right. Because, of course, there is the dark side out there. And then she's just...
Because of what happened to Anakin.
And then she's just willing to risk it and say, go to this place, another Jedi will come, and hopefully it won't... this
she's
child
so
won't get trained.
fearful of the potential that she refuses to train, but she's just willing to leave it up to chance.
That's exactly
right. It's wrong. It's wrong to train Grogu in the Force because he already has too much like hatred or whatever, anger.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to do it. But like, if you like sit this fucker on a rock on some random planet and some Jedi happens to come by of any moral character we don't even know and happens to want to do it, then that's fine. Go ahead. Then he can get trained. But like, I won't do it. But maybe somebody, because it's wrong, he shouldn't get trained at all. But I'm fine if somebody else does it. Okay. And also not like, hey, go find Luke Skywalker. Like, go find Leia at like the capital city of the New Republic, and she can get you in touch with like Luke Skywalker or something. And like, go sit him on a fucking rock on some random planet and have him like fucking ring the bell and hope he hear that a good man and not a bad man comes and hears it. Like, but that's Ahsoka's brilliant fucking strategy. That's genius fucking writing right there.
But also, too, the writing is that good that when Din Djarin gets to that planet to put Grogu on the rock, he just happens to come down to the planet in exactly the position where that temple is that's supposed to be reasonably hard to find, finds it straight away, and, you know...
Well, the temple is so nondescript. It's just a circle with some pillar rocks on it. Like,
yeah.
Boy, what do you even set your scanner for when you arrive to that planet? Like, all right, I'm looking for a temple. What should I scan for?
Oh, a random hill? Okay.
A random hill?
Yeah, a hill with some pillar rocks.
What's the other episode there?
The Luke Skywalker.
13 and 16.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
So you knew 16, like if 13 is going to get nominated, 16. But 16 is just as stupid as 13. Except for it has the Luke Skywalker moment at the
worst one. A lot of people thought that was the worst episode of the season, but it had the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. Like, the lead up to that last 5 minutes is beyond dumb.
Yeah.
And the fact that, like, literally, if you pull back, right? Literally, if Din Djarin and Bo-Katan and Cara Dune and all them people just didn't show up, Luke was going to show up anyway.
Mm-hmm. And this is the other thing, too. They did change lore continuity.
Because they didn't seem to come and come to the ship. Luke was already on his way. So literally everything they did didn't matter. At all.
Yeah.
Because Luke would have just showed up and mopped everybody anyway.
The whole show's bad writing. I don't know how any of these episodes can actually get any credit for having a well-written episode.
Well, all you have to do is all you have to do is look at the fans. They think it's great writing.
Well, but you would expect
Lift your
the
standards,
Academy
people.
and like the Emmys and things like that to recognize, like, so the Oscars, and so there's most popular is for the People's Choice Award, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The Oscars and these other programs are supposed to be value artistic vision and craftsmanship in the industry, and to have a show like this that is so mind-numbingly dumb and generic gets so many nominations, like, just cancel the Emmys. Like, they're worthless at this point. Well, they've been worthless for a long time, but I mean, really, when these type of things are like, this is the best writing of the year, of the whole fucking year. These 2 episodes represent the best of TV writing for the entire year.
Yeah.
That's fucking insulting.
Yeah.
It's
insulting. It's a loss of credibility. It's a lot of things.
But yeah, that's the end. They say the best for last. But yeah, so The Mandalorian's up against itself in a lot of categories. So like, obviously, it isn't going to win. I'm looking at the competition and things like, because Hollywood likes the message of these particular shows.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to, like, Handmaid's Tale, Lovecraft, and The Crown is going to beat The Mandalorian in every single category it's up against.
Yep.
And honestly, like, I don't see how, like, a person like Moff Gideon or Timmy Oliphant's character, or even Carl Weathers, honestly, like, legitimately wins for an acting performance in those. Like,
well, it's also Disney going up against themselves. So in regards to like some of their other shows, so either way, it's pretty much just going to be a Disney whitewash. Am I allowed to say that? Like, or do I have to say blackwash these days? I don't know.
What a joke! Yeah, but what a joke that these things get nominated. Like, it's clearly bought and paid for. There's no way that like I get the sound editing and like visual effects and maybe even like makeup and prosthetics and stuff like that. Okay, you expect like that's the generic nod to the science fiction categories, because that's really they never win the big awards generally. So that's just kind of like, we'll give them the token award for
Well, there you have it, guys. The fucking Emmys are going to be all Disney, probably fucking all Mandalorian, all Star Wars, and it's all garbage.
Yeah. Well, it's going to get nominated. I think The Handmaid's, honestly, like the way Hollywood works, The Crown and Handmaid's Tale is going to like mop them up in every category that they're up against them. Because I can't legitimately, like, as bad as those shows are, in my opinion, like, I think there's legitimately better acting in those shows, like, than The Mandalorian. The acting in The Mandalorian is fine. Like, it's not terrible, right? But nothing stands out as being like,
but also too,
wow, that was great.
The performances might be okay, but the scripts are trash. Yeah. So the way that they're acting and the way that they're doing is exactly what they're supposed to be doing, and they're doing that fine. But it's what they're doing that's actually the scripts is what the problem actually is. Filoni and Favreau, the same.
All 7 pages of every script.
Yeah. But look, we are going to start wrapping up here. We didn't really get a chance to get into Bad Batch. We'll probably talk a little bit about that next week with with the 2 episodes. This episode, just quickly, was just a Hera and Chopper cameo episode.
Yeah, I didn't think it was a Bad Batch episode.
No, it definitely wasn't. I feel like by the end of this series, we're going to have a little bit of Hera and Canon maybe meet for the first time or something, and that's where their love starts to blossom from. Who fucking knows? So it's just, this whole thing is just a copy and paste of The Mandalorian. It's the cameos, it's the babysitters in space. At the end of every episode, you're pretty much you got Ahsoka going, you've got Omega going, oh, you're going to leave me, or what happens if you die? And then you've got fucking Hunter going, nothing's going to happen to us. We're not going anywhere, and you're not going anywhere. And it's just, it's so shit.
Speaking of cameos, it's kind of how Rebels was too. It's like, oh, here's a Wedge Antilles episode. Oh, here's a Leia Organa episode. Oh, here's a Bale Antilles episode. Oh, here's an Ahsoka episode. Oh, here's a Maul episode. Oh, here's a Vader episode.
Thrawn episode.
Thrawn season.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's being run by a talentless hack.
Yeah.
And don't forget, Chopper is a self-insert because he voices Chopper. So keep that in mind.
Yeah.
I always thought he was gay. It's weird.
We also had Jock Nerdy through Streamlabs, sent $10. Thank you, Jock Nerdy. You're a legend. You're very awesome supporter of all our channels in the Aussie and a lot of these guys here too. He just says, here's some love for $10. Thanks, man. Really, really appreciate that. And for all of those people that did send super chats, thank you very much.
They came bounding over.
Fuck off, Disney! You fucking cunt!
There you go. There you
That's
go.
hilarious.
And then
All I can think about is Ryan Johnson sucking my nuts.
That was because of the picture that was above me. Thank you guys all for your super chats and all your support. Even the guys in the chat that didn't send any super chats, thank you for being here. Smash that like button. It's been an awesome conversation. It's been an awesome stream. Stig, I'll get you on next week because we will talk some of these retcons. Maybe they could be retcons, maybe not retcons, but we'll go through that next week. Ryan, thank you very much for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course, man.
Although everybody in the chat is probably already subscribed, please let everyone know where they can find you and what you've got coming up.
You can find me on my channel, Ryan Kinel RK Outpost, and that'll link you to all my other channels as well. I'm doing a lot on Sports Wars over there with Geeks and Gamers and playing a lot of video games, whether it's on Geeks and Gamers Twitch or Gaming with Geeks or my Twitch, whatever it may be. So yeah, you can find. I don't really have anything planned. We do have the Vegas meetup. I guess I'll plug that. We have the Vegas meetup coming up August 11th through the 15th. We will be in Vegas. There does happen to be Star Trek convention. That's just kind of an excuse for us to go there. I don't know if anybody's actually going to go to the convention itself, but it should be a lot of fun. So hope I can see a bunch of people there.
Yes, awesome. I wish I could come. I'm probably going to have to get a jab to ever be able to meet you guys.
Can someone please clip that?
I really want to come.
It'll happen.
Right after an Omega scene, like show an Omega scene, and then like
I wish I was able to come.
And then he said something about getting a jab right after that. So perfect.
The only way I'm going to be able to meet you guys if I get a jab. Yeah. Funny as. But yes, Ryan, thank you again for coming on. You're awesome. Love the work that you do. And yeah, love your opinions. Value your opinions. Thank you.
Thanks.
Lost Jedi 22. Thank you for being here, Greg. As always, let everyone know where they can find you and if you've got anything coming up.
Just Lost Jedi 22 on Twitter and YouTube. Don't really have anything coming up or planned other than being guest panelists on a bunch of streams.
John China is coming. I'm going to make
Off the Treks returning Sunday night. We're going to continue our Picard season 1 discussion.
Yeah, discussion. That's a good way of putting it.
Or completely, obliteration of that godforsaken show.
Yeah, Star Trek. Everything's being destroyed for us, for our, entertainment value. Stig, thank you for coming by, my friend. I'm sorry we didn't get to actually get into some of the stuff that I actually did want to go through with you. But,
fine.
As always, thank you for being here. Please let everyone know where they can find you and if you've got anything coming up.
Well, always fun to hang out with you guys. Like Greg, I'm just like a panelist person. Yeah, OG Star Wars coffee chat next week, Thursday, as usual. Other than that, don't know.
Cool. Go and subscribe to Steve Kenobi.
Yeah. I actually put out content this week though. A bunch of politically incorrect commercials and the like. Which
nice.
I love it when you share those things. I love sitting there and some of
them. Yeah, a couple of them were really twisted. I'm not. Yeah. Anyway.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you for coming by. I'll have you on next week, and we'll talk a bit of Star Wars stuff. So thank you. Tim, Open Airlock Policy. As always, thank you for being here. please let everyone know where they can find you and what you've got coming up.
You can find me at that link. And I'm off the next couple of days. Got some family obligations. I got to do some stuff. But as Greg said, we'll be back Sunday night. And then there's some other stuff planned for the rest of the month. But I am going to try and start on my new video series where, again, I'm just tired of talking about all this new stuff that sucks and is woke. We have 80 or 90 years of movies and TV shows. So I'm going to start recommending maybe a movie and a TV show in each video and talk about why I'm recommending them and what streaming service it's on and, you know, maybe where to get the DVD set. And I'm going to try to make it really entertaining. I'm trying to come up with a name right now for the series. So that's coming up. Working on all my other.
Just call it Watch
videos.
Old Shit Instead.
That's
that's pretty good.
What is that as an acronym? Watch Old Shit Instead. WOSI. Yeah, I don't know. That might work. But yeah, I'm really excited about that because I've got tons of DVDs and stuff that I haven't touched in years. And I'm like, man, these are some great shows. So, and then my usual other stuff I'm working on. So that's what's going on. Thanks for having me.
Nice. So everyone, go and subscribe to Tim Open Air Lock Policy. I just want to quickly thank my patrons. We've got Daniel James, Lethal Lightning, Open Air Lock Policy, Lady Terriel, My Nerdy Home, Riff Magos, and Scimitar. In regards to channel members, I want to thank all of you as well. In the tracking fobs section, we've got Timon, we've got Riff, Lady Terriel, E. Clay Thomason, Biggles, Scimitar, and Lethal. And then in the Lightspeed skippers, we've got Daniel James. So thank you all for your membership and your support. I really appreciate that. I think that's it. Thank you, everyone, for coming by. Oh, let me just tell you what I've got coming up. Tomorrow night or tomorrow morning for you guys in the States, I should be releasing or premiering a little sit-down discussion with a bit of a normie fan for Marvel. I think it's a really, really good discussion. Gives a lot of people's perspective of where a lot of the normies see these shows, movies, whatever from. So that was really good. That's coming out very soon. I am working on my Disney Star Wars continuity Mandalorian edition. So that's coming. And of course, I just got to let you know, because of lockdown, we've gone into our 5th fucking lockdown, ladies and gentlemen, here in Victoria. Thank you, New South Wales, you fucking cunts. Because of that, there probably won't be Casual Rage next week, unfortunately. We'll see what happens. The lockdown will probably get extended, in which case it will happen. But unfortunately, that also means that we won't be doing the Call of Duty stream if we end up going back to work. So I'll keep you all posted on my Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter in the link in the description. Mozza, with the membership, we got another one. Thank you very, very much for your membership, mate. I really appreciate it. It was awesome.
Into the Lightspeed skipper category, even.
Yeah. Also, it doesn't tell me on here, so I can't tell. But thank you for that. That's our second Lightspeed skipper. You've got to get to the lore master. All right, that's it. Thank you, guys. Appreciate all of you. You're all awesome. I will leave you with this.
I
Later,
said
guys.
Lyndon would go to the tree and do some ASMR for you, Lethal. In your honor.
I'm so
And then
He'd be hugging that tree. And then he'd be punching it and slapping it, going, "You took my friend." Kicking it. How dare you?
that would be you, Rhino.
Nah. I'd be there going, "Why? Fuck you, Disney! Why?"